That'll probably go down as obviously my biggest accomplishment in racing. When I
Okay.
look back on all of it, whenever I decide to hang it up, like what we were able to put together there for the Knuth family as a racing community as a whole, that'll just always be the top for me. Got a little bit of podcast experience with me and Pannier back in the day.
Oh yeah.
We had one for Fox River Racing Club.
Okay. Do you guys do they still do it?
No, it kind of died off. Like we started doing it Thursdays up in the tower, like after the races, and then once it got a little bigger, we had like a local bar in Kaukauna sponsor it. So then
Sure.
we went and did it at the bar, but then the quality at the bar was quality at the bar. You know,
Yeah.
people are hooting and hollering, and there's leftover pizza sliding around, and it was fun for a while when we did it. But yeah, it just kind of fizzled out. So
Huh, I never knew.
we let the lower sports guys then kind of take over and let them
Okay.
do their things because friends with Mark and Lauren.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So we kind of passed the torch on to them.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, it's cool. They're still putting content and stuff out there too. Cause yeah, I always gotta, there's something I don't end up seeing or hearing. Like I always go like, oh, I wonder if they got anything on it, and go check that out. But yeah.
Yeah, we do a lot of that on Thursday nights too. It's like, what really happened there? Oh, let's go watch the video. You know, usually
Right.
Mark's got it. You know, he makes 90, I shouldn't say 90, maybe 65 or 70 short track races. So like he usually has it.
Yeah.
If he's not there, it's because he's at another one, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's usually like you hear about something. It's like, you can watch Race Monitor, and it's like, oh, there's a yellow flag out there. Go on Facebook. Oh yeah. Hey, we've already got it on there.
That's
We're good
why,
to go.
yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I'm glad I could corral you into record an episode for coming up here and buying some race car parts all at the same time.
Hey, that worked out well. It's you know, when we talked about it, it's like, oh, that's going to be like an hour and a half away. I was thinking like you were closer to Rapids, like maybe where your shop was and stuff. And I'm like, well, now that I live on the west side of Appleton and you're on the east side, we're actually a lot closer than you think. I just had
Yeah, it makes a difference.
to get around the flooded waters to get here, and
Did you have to corral around that at all, or?
not too bad. Like normally, normally I would take like 96 like through Fremont to 10.
Okay.
And we did some volunteering last weekend in Fremont with sandbagging to get them
Saw
ready.
that,
So
yeah.
I just kind of like perused my way around there. Like they didn't need any more stuff going on. So kind of wild out there, you know, Shiocton, New London, Fremont, they got hit pretty hard.
Yeah, devastating. I couldn't, yes, yeah, who would expect that, but wow, yeah, there's a lot of flooding. I feel terrible for a lot of those people. Yeah.
Yeah, and the owners of WIR, Dan and Ginger Van Delwick, they own an ice cream shop in Fremont. So like
No kidding,
they had to
okay.
close on Friday because like literally the streets closed and there's water coming in. Like, what are you gonna do? You know, so they kind of switched their efforts
Yeah.
into helping the community and helping people just try to save their businesses. Brad Keith, you know him from
Yeah,
racing at
yep.
Slinger. He's got a place right on the water there too. So like going over there, and it's just like crazy to see how high it's gotten up, like almost on his patio deck. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah, it's one of them things like you almost, you don't want to get in the way of all the people taking care of all the necessities, and it's like you kind of want to see it, but it's like I should just
Yeah.
look at the pictures online and just stay out of the way.
absolutely.
Yeah. Gosh, I was, thinking about some of the stuff I was going to ask you. I mean, I always like to, kind of cover, people's lives a little bit from the beginning to, through kind of what they're doing now. But, I can remember, I think I remember the first time really remembering you. I don't think I had been even racing a 4-cylinder yet. So I'm going to say this is probably like 2004, 2005. And I don't know if like you might have had the Toyota body at that point maybe. And then like you're sponsored by the 10th frame, and I think you won like Memorial Day race out at Plover, if that maybe sounds right. I'm trying to think if around that year would sound right, because that was really the first time I remember. It was like a light blue car, the 10th frame. I mean, it was easy to remember a car that's got bowling pins on and a bowling ball.
You're pretty close.
Okay.
07 would have been that year. And I never won at Golden Sands. I always raced like crap out there, honestly.
Okay.
But we had fast time out there.
Okay.
So it was a Tundra race, or WCS race.
WCS race, right?
Yeah. On Memorial Day, and all the stars aligned, and we had fast time. But yeah, we weren't very good in the race. I usually burned my shit up and then
Okay.
worked my way to the back. So
Yeah.
but no, we those were some fun times. Back in the WCS days where you would go kind of to Plover twice.
Yep.
Marshfield twice, Madison twice, Dells twice, and then Kakana was like sprinkled in there once, you know. So it was good because like we were racing with like Nathan Haslai and like the Weinkauf brothers, you know,
Yeah.
and they were really good at their tracks, and then they come to your playground and
Right.
you know, you're really good at your home track, or you should be. So it was good to kind of mix it up with those guys. And funny you mentioned the Toyota body because, yeah, the first year Toyota came into NASCAR, we had a sponsorship through Colosso in Appleton.
Yep.
And Five Star didn't make a Toyota body yet, but we were bound and determined with our sponsor to make our own Toyota body. So we took our Chevy Monte Carlo and just graphicked up the front to make it look like it was a Camry, even though it really wasn't a Camry. And we went and ran the Spring Classic down at Rockford. And, you know, big deal. You know, here's the first Toyota car and in the state and whatnot, even though it really wasn't, right? Chevy motor, Chevy body, Toyota graphics.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget this. You'll get a kick out of this. I still tell this story to this day. A guy comes down the pits after the race. Race went pretty good for us actually down there. We like 120 laps, and then on a late race restart got pushed up out of the way and didn't end up getting the win, but ran really good. After the race, this guy comes down the pits and just starts hammering on me and my team about having a Toyota body. This is an American sport. You should keep the money in America. You shouldn't be giving money to these other countries, this, that, just giving us the riot act about, you know, Toyota, rice burner. You've heard all the terms, right?
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding you. The guy leaves. He's walking away, and it's a colder day because it's Spring Classic in Rockford in April. He's wearing a blue Yamaha jacket. Like,
Just,
are you serious right now? You just came and just rode me and my team about having a Toyota, and you ride a Yamaha snowmobile? All right, got it.
yeah. Talk about a hypocrite.
Yeah, super funny. My buddy Josh, like Josh Westenberger, if he watches this, like he'll never forget that moment. Like, you serious right now? Did this really just happen?
Yeah.
But yeah, takes all kinds, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Miss Rockford though, that was a bummer. We lost that track. You know, such history there, and it was fun racing there. You know, they didn't have a lot of super late stuff, and unless you went to the, you know, short track nationals and things like that. But, you know, back in the day, like that was where we all went. Like that's where we started our year out, you know, so a lot of times going down there. And
Did you run there often?
I wouldn't say often. I bet you only ran there like a handful of times.
Okay.
But we always had fun, always ran good there. So
Yeah, that was one track I never, I mean, one of the many I haven't been to, but one in the close proximity that I never made it to, that I had interest in going to, and just never put the effort into making it down there. But yeah, no, it's sad to see something so historic not be there anymore. And yeah,
I think Alex Papini had like a video not too long ago, just like driving up like his car and stuff, and just like it's all basically like developed now, but you could kind of still see like where stuff was, and it's just like it's sad when you see that happen, and hopefully we don't lose any more tracks.
Yeah, I just actually, someone just recently shared, photos of State Park, and like State Park was never one of my favorite tracks just because I never ran that well there, but it's like, you know, you don't want to see a track go by the wayside, and it's like looking at it, it's like, wow, that hurts to look at, you know. It's like, it's not one of the one places that are the most near and dear to me, but it's like, man, that sucks to not see that there. You know, Wausau, there's so many racers around there and race fans. It's just like, to see that kind of get pulled away, it stinks.
Yeah, that was one of the tracks we never really got to go to a whole lot because Thursday nights at Kaukauna, you know, I've been racing every Thursday night for 27 years at Kaukauna. Like, we never really got to Wausau, and our only opportunities would be a special like the D-Chins, or if the Midwest Tour had something. And then kind of when the information started coming out that the writing was on the wall, it might be the final year, like, I got to go there before that place is gone. So we ran a tour race in 22, I want to say, at Wausau. And I had so much fun. Like, I wish I would have raced there more. Like, 125 lap race, and I think I was wide open like 6 times. You know, like,
sounds about right.
Yeah. I remember the next day at work, like my right calf is cramping up from just all the footwork involved. Like, you don't race other tracks like that.
Yeah.
Like, that was crazy. And even talking to like Casey Johnson stuff before I went up there, like stuff he had me put in, set up and gear, like, this isn't stuff like that's normal that we would normally do. And no, it was a ton of fun. We finished, I don't know, 12th or something, you know, but you know, it was a challenge, and I wish I would have raced there more. And you know, it's a bummer it's gone. And Columbus is another one of those tracks. Has just like
Yeah.
growing up, it was always there's racing there, but not a lot of super late racing there. So like made it there like for an enduro race and sport trucks and stuff like that. But then now it's bought by the tech college or something for
Yeah.
emergency vehicle operations. It's just bummer to see.
Yeah.
We're losing more than we're gaining, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's no doubt. Well, so I know you started out racing sport trucks, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
99.
99. Okay. So even before 99, what what were you doing as, a young kid? Did you come out with a steering wheel in your hands or?
Not exactly. So my dad was a racer growing up, like probably
Okay.
most people you had, and he had to quit racing once he had his third child with my mom, which was me. So I'm kind of the reason Dad had to quit racing.
Yeah.
But we grew up going to the track every Thursday night. My dad helped Neil Moss and then Jim Poggle.
Okay.
He was
Yep.
on their race teams, and just growing up, going to the races all the time, just being involved. Like, Dad, I want to do this. I want to race. I want to race. And my dad was always supportive of it. My mom and dad both. We'll help you go racing, but we're not going to be able to pay for it. So. If you can figure out how to do it, like we're all in for it. And I ended up getting a job at McDonald's when I was 14 for $4.25 an hour at the time. Started saving some money and bought a sport truck at 17 and went racing. So Rob Vandermoss, very influential person in my life. Like he helped me out with that. Like I bought the sport truck for $3,000 with my buddy Andy Haas, and we were paying $100 a week cash from our little part-time fast food jobs, and he was maintaining the truck, keeping it at his shop, and just letting us do it, helping us learn, and the rest was kind of history from there. So yeah, starting out in the sport trucks was great, and reflecting back on that period too, I didn't really realize it at the time, but it had to be very challenging for my parents because I started racing in '99, and their best friend was Jim Poggle, who lost his life at WIR in '97.
Okay, yeah.
So he had the opening night qualifying accident, turn one, and he lost his life. So I never reflected on it until I got older that had to be really challenging for my parents when you have your son that wants to race, but you just lost your best friend at this track.
Yeah.
How do they process that, get through that part, and then be supportive when all that stuff just happens? So we always try to like carry on Jim's memory and his legacy, and we did the throwback car at the 25-year anniversary.
Sure,
with the paint scheme and the number and stuff. So, but yeah, that's kind of where it all started for me. And racing sport trucks is a lot of fun. I got back in one last year and totally got my ass kicked. Like they're so different. They drive so different. We were doing double duty at Kakana. I had fast time in the super, and I was in the LCQ in the sport truck. like how does that even happen?
Total opposite ends of the spectrum. Yeah,
but it was fun, and I still love that class. It's brought up a lot of drivers into the higher divisions, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and actually, I got a couple questions on that division, but kind of around being around racing, with your dad and being around Jim Poggle and seeing all that. Do you remember at what age you were kind of like, hey, yeah, I want to do this. I can see myself wanting to race and get in something.
Man, it goes back like all the way because, I got an older brother who races too. And we were racing bikes and big wheels and everything we could get our hands on. So I think like it even starts back then. Like we'd have weekly bicycle races with tracks set up, and we would do qualifying and keep points and everything. Like, so the drive was always there. And then, 10, 12, 14 years old, you'd mentioned to your buddies, like, I'm going to be a racer someday. I'm going to do that. And they just like laugh, like, yeah, whatever, how are you going to do that? So like literally being able to live out your childhood dream was cool. And then like when you get to do it, then like you keep setting your bar higher, right? So now you want to, go from a sport truck to go on the half mile and run late models. And then once you're at late models, then you want to run supers, and then you want to travel. And, the NASCAR dream died a long time ago as racing has evolved, obviously. But to be able to live out, like just thinking back of what you dreamed of when you were 10 years old, to be able to do that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, definitely. And yes, then getting into like the sport truck, Now, is there any suspension, like when it comes to like shocks or anything, or is it, I mean, is it like a go-kart in that aspect of it?
Yeah, they are basically like a go-kart. So they're
Okay.
all like home-built chassis, no suspension.
Okay.
And they're
It's been a while since I've looked at one, so I couldn't remember.
500cc air-cooled snowmobile motors.
Okay.
So jetting is super important. Clutching is super important. And a lot of the guys that run really competitive and good in sport trucks, they usually have a guy in their corner that's also a snowmobile racer or a snowmobile drag racer.
Sure.
Because they know how to get everything out of those things. And then, yeah, your really adjustment setup-wise is stagger, tire pressure, moving wedge around. Otherwise, you're kind of committed to what you got.
Sure. Yeah, and I was gonna ask you just how important. Obviously, I assume like the jetting, but yeah, just like the clutching on it too. Because I mean, are you wide open a majority of the time in those things, or are you on and off a little bit?
On and off, yeah. You can't hold it wide open around. Like when we ran Golden Sands and Slinger, like you could hold it wide open, but like Kaukauna, like mainly weekly stuff, like no, there wasn't any way you were doing that.
Yeah, that place, that little quarter mile, so rough too.
Yeah.
I mean, do you just hop around in those things? I mean, it's like you watch that roof flap and it's just going usually.
Yeah, it can turn into a little bit of a pogo stick out there with not having any suspension, and that's probably the biggest difference I learned last year jumping back into it. I was driving Tom G's truck, which I used to race pro lates and super lates with him, and just he was kind of like coaching me like, all right, they put a patch here in turn 3. You got to drive around that. But then out of 4, there's one over here. So you got to go around. It's like you're almost driving an obstacle course to get the most speed out of the thing.
Sure, like on the smoothest line. And
versus just to get it not to hop and bounce. And my brother was actually racing one that night too. He actually flipped over qualifying by himself because he hit a bump wrong. So like time trials, you just flip it over, things like that. So a lot of characteristics on that track, both on the quarter and the half mile, but you definitely see it in a sport truck.
Yeah, I know if I really the place I've watched them the most is that Golden Sands. And it's like see them things like hit that inside curb and like just really just take off, and it's like it can't be any fun.
Yeah, I got a funny story too. When we were at Golden Sands, we it was super hot day, and this must have been in 01. We were playing around a little bit because there was a little gray area in the rules about a cool can. So have you ever heard of a cool can?
No.
All right. So Moroso made a cool can, which was basically like a brushed aluminum can with a coiled fuel line in it. Okay. And then you pack it full of ice and seal it up. So the idea was you could keep your fuel cooler, which would give you more power. And when you're dealing with a 90 horsepower sport truck on a hot summer day, hey, this is me, the cat's meow. Let's try it. So we get this cool can in. We read the rule book first, like most racers, and go, well, it doesn't say what I'm not going to ask the guy because he's going to tell me no. Yep. So let's just see how it operates. So we put this cool can thing in, and it's working pretty good. Like we had to do rejet, obviously, and stuff like that. So we're out there in the feature. And typical plover day, it's 90 and humid, sun's beating down. And one of the trucks flips over in turn 4. So they park us all up in turn 2. And we're sitting there for 15, 20, 25 minutes. Well, guess what happens to all the ice in the cool can? She melted, and then, like, it overflowed out of the top. So all of a sudden there's a puddle, like, leaking down out of the truck. So one of the safety guys comes over, and he's like, hey, you got something leaking out of your truck. And I'm like, it's 2-cycle engine. Like there's nothing that could be leaking unless it's fuel. And he's like, well, it's not fuel. You must be leaking something else. So like the cat was kind of out of the bag at that point, but it was really funny. Like there's all these trucks parked up in the corner, and then this one's leaking water, and I guess we're busted on that. So the next year there was a rule you couldn't run those anymore.
A good idea though. Yeah.
Yeah.
After sport trucks, what was the progression for you from sport trucks to, obviously eventually a super late model?
Yeah, I think we did 3 years in sport trucks and had some success there. So, had the desire to move up. Again, it just came down to like cost. And my dad's whole background was with late models on the quarter mile in the sportsman class, and then with the super lates with Jim Poggle and stuff. So like my dad helped me in the sport trucks, but he wasn't a snowmobile guy. He wasn't like, he was more on the late model.
Yeah, it's not a V8 engine and a transmission, right?
Yeah, so like the itch was there, and we started looking at some things, and there was a car that came available. Jamie Burley had a car at the end of the 2001 season. And for what I sold my sport truck and trailer for, we were able to buy that car. So
Okay.
it's like the cost of the sport trucks had gotten to the point where it was like, well, you could just move up and buy this car. And it was an older Rander car, you know, had a bent cross member in it, whatever. We didn't care. We wanted to go half mile racing.
Yeah.
So we got that car out in the fall of 01, and I bet you I did, I don't know, 300 or 400 laps on the half mile Kaukauna because I just wanted to master it right away. I backed that thing in the fence a couple times, like snubbing out the clutch, never, you know, really drove stick before in a race car. And just got like all that out of my system, and then came into the 2002 year, and we hit the ground running. Like it was a lot of fun. First night out, made the dash, won the dash, finished top 5 in the feature.
Okay.
Like, all right, here we go. And a lot of that wasn't, well, it was still me learning, but a lot of that was just the stuff my dad brought to the table because we took that Rander car and made it into a left-hander, you know, essentially. Or a Rander hander, as we called it back in the day. But just using all those ideas and all that. And he was really influential in just showing us how to do the right ways and the maintenance and upkeep that goes into it. And just we took a lot of pride in that, making sure we stay consistent and competitive.
Now, just what was the difference, what was it like going from the sport truck to a half mile, then in a full body race car?
It wasn't as drastic as you'd think. And I think part of what helped with that is just with the sport trucks being rear wheel drive and a little bit more to manhandle. I think that helped actually.
Sure. Okay.
When you got on the half mile, it was almost like this thing's got suspension and it's a little bit easier to drive. And yeah, it's got 400 horsepower or whatever they had at the time. But you had more grip and the car weighed more, it was an 800-pound sport truck. It was a 2,800-pound late model.
Right.
So a lot of it was not apples to apples, but at the end of the day, like driving and racing was just driving and racing. And just getting out there and getting comfortable, and just, it took time to get comfortable around other cars. And, I remember having that conversation with my dad, like in the off season before we went on the half mile. He's like, all right, this first couple weeks, I want you to just start in the back. I want you to learn. I want you to stay away. And then you qualify the first week, 6th, then you're on the pole of the dash. And it's like, Dad, I'm not starting in the back. And then you go look at the feature lineup and we're on the pole. I'm like, Dad, I ain't starting in the back. Like, we can win this thing. You know? So like we kind of just worked our way through that and just really kept like a conservative line and held the bottom and stayed out of the way of other people and just tried to learn the right way. So it was a lot of fun, and having Dad in my corner, right out of the gate, to make that transition to the half mile was big.
Yeah, no, especially I think it's, nowadays it's even, just as important, but I think that's so huge to be able to come into something new and to have some sort of success. Is just so nice to have someone to point you in the right direction instead of just, shooting off in whatever direction just throwing something at the wall and hoping it works, essentially.
Yeah, and Dad still jokes. It's funny. He was just at my shop yesterday, and like he'll still joke. Like he'll see me putting shocks together with bump stops and all this stuff, and he'll be like, "What are you doing? Just put a pair of 325s in the front, 175s in the back, and let's go racing." Because that's essentially what we did back then, and that's what worked, and that's what he knows. So, just grab a Penske shock that's a B+. Remember they had all the letters and the valving and stuff. Just like total old school stuff. So then he sees us there with Weir's load sticks playing with sway bar loads, and he's just like, "You guys, like this is so much simpler." I'm sure Richie talked about that on his podcast, but life could be so much simpler. And it's funny because like you hear some people now going back setup wise, conventional, and getting away from some of that stuff. So yeah, it would be fun to just put some 325s and 175s in and go see what it does,
Yeah. Well, that was, to, talk about that. I mean, when I went and jumped in, a Midwest truck there, a handful of times, it's like, just like you got off the bump stops and it's like, it's just springs and shocks again, whatever. Obviously, there's things you can do to the shocks, but it's like, man, it's a little different again, not having to run on bump stops and stuff. And it's every once in a while you'd go to, State Park and, try and pull off bump stops and not run on those. And it's like, so you get to, but it's still super rough there, but yeah, it's, things have changed. That's for sure. So how long, so you did the 3 years in the sport truck and then, went on to the limited late models. How long did you spend in the limited late models?
I was only there a couple years. We had a lot of success right out of the gate, and then the second year, we won the championship out there, both for the
Okay.
Thursday night and the red, white, and blue. So at that point, it was like things are looking pretty good. You want to like keep progressing. I was 20 years old at that time, and had some decent backing with some sponsors. So we spent 2 years in that, and then moved up to supers racing for Mike Butts in 2004. So he had two cars at the time. Jeff Van Oudenhoven was driving one of them.
Okay.
And then I was in the other one. And that was a very good experience learning, again, from someone who's had all the success with Matt Kenseth and Ryan Matthews and just all the different drivers that have raced for Mike Butts, to learn from him and then be teammates with Jeff, who I'm still friends with. Hey, we were just at a band Saturday night together. So like it was cool, like learning from them and then also like applying all the stuff we had already learned from Dad, into that. And I'd love to tell you the first year was a great success in the supers, but it was hard. It was a learning curve. I don't think we cracked the top 5 in the feature till maybe like the last month. We weren't qualifying consistently up front. Like it was hard. Like you got Terry Baldry and Jeff Van Oudenhoven and just Rod Wheeler at the time was in there. Tim Rothy. There's a lot of good people that were still running, and then here comes this punk kid who just won a limited late championship who thinks this shit don't stink. And I kind of got humbled pretty quickly that first year, but the building blocks were in place, like to do the right things and just keep working on the setup, on the car, on me. To get more consistent and better. And then, as the years progressed, obviously we picked it up. So we didn't get our first feature win in super late till 2007. So I think it took 3 years.
Okay.
And I still tell that story because I think the next generation of racer, like, doesn't maybe have that much patience. They go race go-karts, they win all these stuff, and then they move up and they win all this stuff, maybe on sizzling fours and whatnot. And then you get to the late models and the super lates, and it's a little bit harder. And then it's either do you go all in and really work for it, or you just quit and go find something else to do. And you kind of see it both ways.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of glad I stuck with it. And those first few years in super lates were humbling. I still remember a story from my rookie year, which you'll get a kick out of. We're running like 7th or 8th on a restart, and it was single file restarts back in the day. And I didn't get a great restart and coming out of 4. And JJ Smith I can't remember which car he was in at the time, doesn't matter. He's looking at the inside into turn 1, and I'm like, I got to drive into turn 1 deep or I'm going to get hung out to dry so I can get back down. And I drove in the corner so hard that I didn't realize the guys in front of me checked up. So I just drove square in the back of Tim Rothy, who then went forward into Jim Duco, and like it was a 3-car spin out. So they put us all to the back. And we finished the race, and I pull into my pit stall, Mike Butts' trailer there. I'm not even like stopped in my car, and Tim Rothy is in my face, in my window net, chewing my ass. You stupid da-da-da, you can finish the rest of the sentence. And Mike comes flying over the trailer, just lays him right on his ass, just throws a shoulder to him. Mike's a big guy, starts a big, cruiser doing the normal thing. They separate everything, and I'm just 21-year-old rookie sitting in the car. I'm just going to leave my helmet on here. Just let everything kind of chill out. All right. Like I knew I screwed up.
Yeah.
There's a time and place to apologize, and it wasn't going to be right then. So I wait for everything to clear out. All right. Take my helmet out, get out of the car. And little did I know, standing at the back of the car then was Jim Duco, who was the other car involved. He went over to yell at Tim for spinning him out. And then he found out that Tim didn't really spin him out. It was the second car behind him that pushed him into him. So then I got my ass chewed by Jim Duco, and I felt about this big, and like I didn't belong at that time. But what was so interesting about going through all that was maybe about an hour and a half after everything calmed down, the 3 of us are having a beer, and everybody chilled out, and they're racing for a championship, and they're up there in points, and now they went from finishing 5th and 6th to 13th and 14th, so they're pissed off, but like, I own my mistake. I told them what happened. I told them how I learned from it, and everybody calmed down after that. But rookie year in super lates, big brawl in the Monday Butts pits, and those guys. Tim Rothy's still a good friend to this day, which is pretty cool, and we still see Duke around track too. So
No, I probably breezed over a little too quickly, but your time in limited late models, assuming since you won the championship, I'm going to assume you picked up a feature win or two along the way throughout the years. Do you remember winning that first race on the half mile, and what that was like? Obviously coming from the point of like, man, I just want to get to race something, and then it's like, all right, I'm here racing in the sport truck. I want to get to the half mile. And it's like, and I'm going to say, yeah, obviously within 3 years you win a championship, and if you're winning races, it's like, yeah, that's some success. I mean, obviously I had to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty surreal at the time, just because it all played out. Even the 3 years in sport trucks, I didn't win a feature at Kaukauna. Like, we had a ton of fast times, a ton of heat race wins, and broke the track record and things like that. But my only feature wins in sport trucks were at the Dells and Slinger. So, like, to win that first race at Kaukauna, not only on the half mile, but that was like my first feature win altogether.
Okay.
It was a red race on top of it, and we ended up almost having a clean sweep of the whole red, white, and blue series that year with fast times and feature wins, and then got wrecked in the blue race. But no, it was just pretty cool. Like, the thing was just locked in, and like it was, I don't know, like I guess my memory of that is just everything kind of slowed down and just came to you. Like, you get behind somebody and they get down, and like the C's part, like you've been there before.
It's like, hey, this is going to work out.
This never happens, and it happened, so it was cool that all came together, and to share that moment, with your family, with your team, and gets everybody pumped up. So I think that year we ended up going on to win 4 features, and one of them that I'll never forget, I had mono. I didn't think I was going to race. I had mono, and I didn't go to work that week. I slept for 18 hours a day, like sick as a dog. Wasn't in the shop. The other guys were getting the cars ready. Like, I didn't think I was going to the track. And we went to the track that night and qualified well, and we're running third at the end of the feature. And it's a hot night, of course, when you're sick on top of it, and then it's hot and stuff. And we're running third, and we're coming in the last lap, and we're just going to finish third and just be happy with how the week went, just to take it and leave,
Yeah.
And the leaders wrecked each other. So they got sent to the back, and we got, we took the white flag in third, but we ended up feature winner. So that was cool. Like, things like that play out. And just walked over to Jason Vandenberg, and he was the one leading that got wrecked, and just give him your trophy. Like, hey, you earned this tonight. Like, I really didn't earn it. This is yours, So, but yeah, that was really a fun year, and that was just one of those stars kind of all aligned, and things worked out really well. Had a lot of fun doing that, and didn't know if I had that in me, but found out I did.
The 3 years or so that it took for you to get that first super late model win, did you have ones that got away from you prior to that, or, did you find yourself in, close situations to capitalize on a wins that just kind of got away, prior to that one?
Yeah, probably the one that sticks out the most was the spring opener WCS race in 06. We had a rocket right out of the gate, and we broke the track record qualifying. And
is that at Kaukauna?
Yeah, Kaukauna.
Okay.
And the thing was just on lock, and we did the invert. We started 10th or 12th, and I think Steve Carlson qualified second. So, like, me and him are just working our way through the field. And I believe we got up to second or third with maybe 15 laps to go. And I had a plug fall out of the rear end gear oil. And we oiled down the whole track, which I had to come to the pits, obviously. I'm the one who oiled the track down.
Yeah.
We were able to fill it back up and get back out. And then we restarted like 15 laps to go and went from 21st to 7th. And it's just like, you look back on that and you just kick yourself in the butt.
Yeah.
Like, that is definitely a race that we let get away. That was within our control. A lot of times in racing, flat tire, this guy wrecks, you get toe knocked out, whatever. Like, some things aren't within your control, but that one was within our control, because not only should it have been tight or checked to be tight, it should have been safety wired.
Yeah.
And neither happened because, during practice, you're changing gears,
sure,
and
right,
rush and everything else. So I always think back to that, and take a lot of pride in car prep and maintenance, because when you lose races for things that are like that are within your control, like, you never forget it.
No,
and
definitely
that was
not.
now 20 years ago, and I'm still talking about it.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and people like you see an old newspaper article and they're like, well, you broke the track record and you drove all the way through and you only finished 7th. Like what the heck? And it's like, oh yeah, I know. Yep, that was me.
When you broke the track record, knowing how fast people have gotten nowadays and seeing that, I don't know what the track record is now. Maybe you do, but I know it's kept knocking down there. What was the track record when you broke it versus almost what it is now, if you know?
It's about a half a second slower. So that was like a 19.22 back in 06, and now Ty's got it at like 18.7.
Yeah, wow.
A lot of that's obviously technology, but what Hoosier's given us, like, you know, if you get back in a super with these ST1, 2 with stars, I mean, it's crazy. Like last year, on a 2-tire night, we had fast time with an 18.99. It's like, and it's only on 2 new tires. Like that's just insane to think about.
That's moving, yeah.
Going, yeah. But lots changed. Now if you're on a 19.2, you're just another car on a 4-tire show. All right, I think maybe it was the year maybe Ty broke the track record. We had like a 19.0 something, and I was in the LCQ in Midwest Tour race. You know, so like you think about that, and it's like we're still 0.2 faster than when we broke the track record. Now we're in the LCQ here, so. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. What year was it when you got your first super late win? And then assuming that was at Kaukauna then?
It was actually at Norway.
Norway, okay.
Yeah, so 07, we went up to Norway for the spring opener that they had up there, and they had advertised that it was going to be $2,000 to win, 300 start, you know, things like that. And like, cool, we'll go up there, kind of, you know, get our feet wet, use it as a exhibition race before Kaukauna starts. And ended up having a good battle with Mike Gardner and Tom G and taking the win. And I'll never forget, it was, you know, middle of May when we left the track and started driving home. It was snowing because you're in upper Michigan in May, and that's what you get. So, but yeah, we cracked off our first win up there at Norway, and then picked up one at Madison. With the WCS series.
Okay.
And then won at Kaukauna that year. So that was a pretty special year to win 3 different features at 3 different tracks. And that was the first year we won features and supers. So,
okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So just finding your stride at that point. So it was around 2017. Did you win a championship then at Kaukauna?
Yeah, that is. And what made that year pretty special is we didn't win a feature that year.
No,
so,
okay.
We had a bunch of fast times. We had a bunch of dash wins and didn't finish no worse than 7th. And we were in a tight points battle with Lowell Bennett, who's between Kaukauna and Slinger, I think a 25-time champion.
Yeah.
And Lowell had won 4 features that year, but he also got, you know, flat tire here, motor problem there, caught in a wreck there. So like he had 3 or 4 DNFs, and just the way kind of everything aligned, we had a very consistent year. And we had won a feature the year before that, and we won features the years after that. But that championship year, we didn't end up winning a feature at all. So it's kind of weird to have that where you know, kind of have your most notable successful season in a super late with the championship, but not to have a feature win to show for it.
Yeah.
And speaking of ones that got away, you know, I think that year, John DeAngelis was racing with us. He was a rookie that year, and he had a good battle with Alex Stump, and we had caught him. And I ended up passing and clearing both of them, got the lead, and it started like drizzling, raining out, and my car completely went away. And I thought maybe in my head it was the track was getting wet and damp, but we had a right rear going down. And they, you know, in hindsight, maybe they should have threw the yellow and called the race, but it wasn't quite wet enough to do that. So we kept going. So like here I am with tire going down, and I fell back to 4th, and it's just like, there's another one that got away, you know, when you got the thing on kill and then stuff like that happens. But
yeah, all part of it. and now, so you talked about running for Mike Butts, and then I think we were talking beforehand, you ran for, did you go from running with Mike Butts to Dennis Chase and then on your own, or how did that end up all panning out?
Yeah, so we ran 1 year with Mike Butts, and then we ended up buying the car from him and Patty after that year, and then we went on our own for 3 years. And in that 3-year period, I got to know Dennis Chase. He was kind of just a fan in the stands. He would come to all the WCS races and Kaukauna races, knowing a little bit more about him, you know, once we got to be friends. He was a huge NASCAR fan and a huge Jeff Gordon fan. Like, he had been to every NASCAR track on the circuit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he followed Jeff Gordon, and then he started following like local stuff. And, you know, he'd come down in the pits, talk to us. I saw him a few times. I worked at an auto parts store. He's a mechanic. He would come and we'd shoot the bull about racing. And I kind of encouraged him, like, if you wanted to get more involved, like, stop by the shop. And he came to us, like, WCS race at Marshfield, came in the pits, and just kind of like really enjoyed it and got involved. So after that 07 season, we partnered up and we built a car together. And that first year was a complete disaster. And it wasn't his fault. It wasn't my fault. It was, you know, just circumstances. We built a Hamke car, and it was something different than nobody else had.
Okay.
And we kind of just struggled that whole year. And in hindsight, when you look at like how that whole year played out, that'd probably be one most people would chalk up to say that's one to forget. But I think you learn a lot about yourself going through those trials and tribulations, and you learn a lot about your team.
Oh, sure.
And it was, again, a very humbling experience when you go from winning 3 features at 3 different tracks in 07 to 2008. We were 17th in points, running the LCQ every week, and just barely hoping for a top 10. 3 different motors in the car, a ton of different setups in the car. We'd be out there every Tuesday night practicing. Like, everybody's exhausted and drained, and the harder you worked, it just seemed like you were pounding your head against the wall. And it just, for whatever reason, that car just didn't work for me. It didn't work for us. We tried a Ford motor that year, which nobody else really had. So like, we had all these different variables, and the stars did not align that year, and that was very challenging. So we got rid of that Hamke car after the year, and that's when Race Tech Chassis started in 09. So we partnered with Joe, and me and Dennis and Joe built a Race Tech car, which we had for a couple of years after that. So
okay, yeah, I'm thinking around that time. I mean, that was probably Kyle Busch was running a lot around here at that point, and I know he was running a Hamke. And that was, you know, that thing was always bad fast, but I'm sure the Hamke Kyle Busch has is different than the Hamkes everyone else had.
Yeah, you know, thinking back to like, there's a lot of like speculation, because that was like the first time like chromoly was really a thing, and then it's like, you got to go get it stress treated and all these different things. And it was, at the time, it was like, well, I don't know, what is this guy doing, or what do you think? And then when you're struggling with it during the year, what are you going to do? Rip the car all apart and go do that first step of the process that you should have did when you built it?
Yeah,
you're like, you're kind of in the middle of the year, you're kind of like stuck with what you got. But yeah, we ended up getting rid of that car to Tim Schindel after the year, and we built the Race Tech stuff, and then we had some pretty good success. But we never together as a team. Me and Dennis never won a feature together. We had some fast times. We had a lot of top 5s. I think both years with the Race Tech, we finished top 5 in points, but could never get that feature win. And then after the 2010 season, like, we kind of sat down, and we're kind of both going a different direction. Like, I wanted to get back to getting in a left-hander, get back to the success we had in 07, things I was comfortable with. Dennis was enjoying like working with the Race Tech stuff and wanted to keep going that direction. So we ended up parting ways at the end of 2010, and it was very mutual and very good, because sometimes that can get messy and you can lose friendships. But we both kind of agreed at the time, like, the only way this is going to work for either of us is if we continue to work together and help each other. So even if we're separate teams and you're going back on your own, and now I'm going for my first time on my own, like sharing parts and help and things like that. And that kind of continued. And then sure enough, as fate would have it, like the very next season, like we're out there at Kaukauna, and I think it was either the first or second week he won with Mike Gardner behind the wheel, like right away. So it's like, boom, that's what was needed. And we had a really good year in 2011 too, like going back to our left-hander stuff. So it was definitely needed, like, to go our separate ways. And now with him partnered up with Casey this year, we're kind of like back on the same page. So it's kind of funny how 15 years later, we're almost like indirect mutual teammates again in a way. So
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, getting to that point, you know, where you won that championship then at Kaukauna, you know, what was the closest you had ever been prior to, you know, winning a championship? You know, had you fallen in second, you know, any years of the, you know, leading up to that?
Leading up to that, I think that '07 year we were third, and then we
Okay.
were second in the red, white, and blue stuff. And that's another one that got away. The blue race rained out that year, and we were 7 points out of first. And the guy who was leading was starting to struggle towards the end of the year, and we were just picking it up. And then the blue race rained out and never got rescheduled. So in my office, I have a few trophies, and that's one of them that I have in there just to remind me that red, white, and blue, all you got was second. Like that's still out there that I still want to try to accomplish that.
Yeah.
Because that's such a prestigious thing
to
have your name on that list. And we've been close so many times with second and third place finishes in that. But yeah, leading up to that 17 season, we always were consistent, like fourth to sixth. We would finish in the standings. Always have a lot of fast times, a lot of top fives, but never had like seasons where we had multiple wins. And there were a lot of trying different stubs and trying different suspension and throwing different things at it that just didn't work out the way we wanted to. And when we built that car in 2017 with Joe Wood and the guys at Pathfinder, like right out of the box, the thing was just a rocket. Thinking back to that, like Dennis Prunty had the Anderson maple syrup kind of house car with the Pathfinder guys. And they had a lot of notes like from running with Dennis and traveling. And we were able to like work with Joe and reference those notes and talk to Jason and Lars and stuff. And they were really awesome. And like at the time, they only had one other Pathfinder at Kaukauna running weekly. And then after that 2017 season, they had like 8, so it kind of like they had some buy-in too, because it kind of put them on the map at the time to get out to more tracks than just the Madison and Jefferson and those areas too. So that worked out really well, and that was great working with those guys, and get to see Joe every week. Still, he comes up with Jordan Thiel's car. So great guy there.
After that last night of 2017, how many days were you in the pit area after that?
Yeah, that was a fun night. We still talk about that too. The Facebook Live videos were going that night.
Yeah, I feel like I even remember that.
Yeah, and we stayed up till the sun came up, and some people were coming by on their way to work, dropping off donuts and coffee because they knew we were still at the track. But we had a lot of fun, and thinking back to that night, it just meant so much for my family and my dad specifically. That was his first super late model championship, and being able to get that for him as a son just meant a lot. It was pretty special. He'll be a Fox River Racing Club member this year. It'll be his 50th year, just having that memory to cherish with him and all the work we put in. He was my spotter that year on the radio, guiding me through all the crap, keeping me calm on the radio when I get worked up, and just kind of like almost like a bookends in a way. Like he helped start all this for me, and then to deliver that back to him was just so much fun, so special. And we partied it up. So I think I think I finally fell asleep about 11 in the morning up top in the grass, and then we got home, and I remember laying on the couch finally at like 4, maybe in the afternoon. And I'm like, all right, I'm done. Like, I can't go anymore. Like, I've been awake 36 hours or whatever it is. I can't go anymore. And I remember laying down on the couch and just finally like shutting my eyes. And next thing you know, I got a knock on the door. I'm like, who's at the door? Like, seriously? And it's my neighbor. And he's like, hey, it looks like you guys had a fun night last night. Congrats. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. And he's like, I don't know if it's a bad time or not, but I got a guy coming tomorrow to work on my hot tub. Would you mind stopping over and just helping me like move it? So I got to like turn it on its side so you can work on it. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. So I go out and we move the hot tub. He's like, all right, man, I appreciate it. Hey, while you're over here, you want to have a beer? I'm like, yeah, why not? And then it all started again. And then we're at the neighbors and everybody's celebrating. And I'm like, literally shut my eyes for 10 minutes. And then we're just like back at it.
A power nap, they call that. Yeah.
Yep. So, but no, definitely had a lot of fun with that. And we want to get back there. That's the goal, definitely. So the year after that 2017 season, we had a really good car, and Dennis Chase had Casey Johnson in his car full time on Thursday nights. So me and Casey battled it out for the championship in 2018, and I ended up finishing second to Casey that year. which was fun. I mean, it was very competitive, and I think having Casey just made you a better driver because you weren't resting on your laurels, or what you did last year was good enough, because he's out there a tenth faster every week or going through the field quicker.
Sure.
So that was definitely a really solid year. I think that often gets forgotten because, 2017 is the year you won, and then everybody forgets like the next year you had a really good year, but you didn't win at all. So now it's like the bar has been raised, and now you're just here.
Yeah, it can be quickly forgotten if you don't stay up there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You talked about and obviously, so winning 2017, but then, having to, keep up with a guy like, Casey Johnson, so you have to continue to improve things. But, so along the way you talk about, changing stubs and changing packages, have you always been someone that, never shied away from, searching deep for something new and, just trying whatever, you could, think up to, make things better? What is your, mindset, maybe approach to that?
Yeah, I think I've gone back and forth on that. Like, I think I'm guilty of staying comfortable with something too long and then falling behind. And then I've also been guilty of, F it, we're just going to throw the catch and stick of this. I'm sick of running 8th. And then you make it where you're running 12th, so you got to go back to it. But no, like, I think a lot of this sport, and I'm sure you've had other people talk about this on the podcast, is just like your connections and your people. Like, how many different vendors build shocks, and reflecting like back that on now, like, I don't think there's any one shock builder that's like magically better than the other one. It all comes down to like relationships and who do you have a good working relationship with,
right,
that you can give feedback and vice versa and collaborate with. Like, that's who you should be doing business with versus trying to chase like the magic fairy dust of, oh my God, Ty Fredrickson, did you see that? He won last week. We got to have what he has. I think when you're new into racing, it's easy to fall in that trap.
Oh,
or
sure.
It's easy to fall in the trap and go talk to 5 different people and get 5 different answers and then put those 5 different things in your car. And now you're a complete bag of shit and you don't know why you're a bag of shit. Well, it's because you're listening to too many people. So
yeah, what contingency stickers they got in their car? I gotta have that same stuff.
Yeah, so I've been guilty of it both ways, honestly, and I think what I've learned over the years is just value your relationships, collaborate with your people, leverage the people that you can share back with them and work together well with, and I think that really benefits. I mean, you hear that all the time. It almost sounds cliche when Rick Hendrick or Roger Penske talk about that, but it's so true. Like,
yeah, I agree.
It's just, it's all about relationships and people and working together versus the parts and special trick stuff that you're going to throw in your car. We used to joke, Steve Strasberg, which part of the reason I'm here tonight.
Yeah.
We would always joke, like, we were building the car together in 2007. And it's like, if you were to add up everything in the catalog that says it would make you a 10th faster, like, we should be going like 16 seconds at Kaukauna now.
Yeah.
If you buy this and that's a 10th, and then this is a 10th over here, but that guy's got something that's worth a 10th. It's just like, that's all crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, kind of thinking about the, relationships and kind of racing community type of thing. I remember when I don't know, whatever year that was, and I wrecked at Kaukauna one of the 2 times. I know you were one of the handful of people that had reached out to me, and but then kind of prior to that, I remember, there was kind of the fundraising thing you put together. I don't know if there's anyone else involved for Charlie Knuth. Is it just not the name, right? Okay.
Yep.
Talk about that a little bit, because I thought, and that was pretty neat. There were so many people that like donated all these doors, and I think you kind of orchestrated a lot of that to kind of help raise money for that. And that was one of the times, like, a little bit later down the road, other than I knew you when me growing up seeing a super late model, but then a few years down the road I'm racing with you, and maybe we got to chat with you a little bit throughout that. But just talk about that and kind of what kind of got put together there, because I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. That'll probably go down as obviously my biggest accomplishment in racing. When I look back on all of it, whenever I decide to hang it up, like what we were able to put together there for the Knuth family as a racing community as a whole, that'll just always be the top for me. Yeah, so the background on that, it was the end of the 2019 season,
Okay.
and I had a coworker come to me who knew I worked on cars, and he's like, "Hey, my stepson's car needs brakes. I bought all the stuff. I don't know what I'm doing. Will you help me?" I'm like, "Sure. Come over to my dad's shop Saturday morning. I'll meet you there." So I got there, like 20 minutes before he did. Turn the heat on in the shop and start cleaning stuff up, like make room to push this car in. And um, I grabbed this old door that I drilled off of the car after the year that I was going to replace, and it was just kind of like sitting in the way. And I remember grabbing it and like throwing it to the side, and I'm like, I was just at the Darboy Corner Store, which was one of my sponsors at the time,
Okay. Yeah.
Patty and Larry, and they had a jar on the counter like raising money for Charlie, and he had a rare skin condition called EB, which constantly makes your skin blister.
Okay.
And it's incurable and a lot of pain, a lot of, gauze changing and things like that.
Sure. Okay.
So they're just raising money for the Knuth family and all the stuff like Charlie had been going through. And he was pretty well known in the Fox Valley community,
Okay.
by his classmates and different charities. But I remember moving that door and I'm just like, maybe I should just sign that door quick, take a picture of it and throw it on Facebook and, put out their highest bidder. We'll donate the money towards the Knuth family. And my intention at the time was, if we got a couple $100 for it, that'd be pretty awesome. That would help them out quite a bit. Doing whatever we can to help out. And at the bottom of my post that I put on there is, this is to raise money for Charlie and his family. And I challenged other race teams in our area to do the same thing, thinking, Mike Anthony, Mickey Shalley, some of our local Kaukauna guys would do the same thing. And I posted that thing. Eric came over with his stepson's car. We did the brakes. Didn't think nothing of it. People started bidding on it, sharing it. But just that second part of it, like challenging other people in the racing community to do the same thing. And then people were able to read about Charlie and his story. Next thing you know, like, there's 6 doors, and then there's 12 doors, and then there's 18 doors, and then this door is going for 1,000, and like,
yeah,
all of a sudden it almost came into like, holy cow, like this thing grew legs so quick and kind of took off, and it really kind of took me by surprise because I had no idea like what I was doing, but kind of the beauty of it, like thinking back at the time was, I posted my door on my page, and then just shared it. But like you posted your door on your page and you have like a totally different network of people. And then, everybody started like doing the same thing and it just kind of like spread like wildfire and just got out there. And next thing you know, there's dirt guys involved and Bubba Power posts a door and, Travis Braden. It's like, now you got guys in like North Carolina, Eddie McDonald and up in Maine. It's like, holy cow, like this is pretty crazy. This is pretty impressive, like how it all came together like that. And then it turned into like a full-time, I shouldn't say full-time, but it turned into like a big operation to like try to keep track of all these stores.
You want to do a good job, make sure it all comes together.
And Patty and Larry at the Darboy Corner Store, like they were completely blown away by like the response of this and, just the amount of people. And then sponsors started jumping in. Like then sponsors like Valley Gasket, who sponsors Dennis Chase's team, like whoever's highest bidder on the 47 door will match whatever they're doing. So you start getting that stuff going on in the meantime. And this thing went on probably, I think we started it like right around Christmas, right before COVID, which again is another blessing in disguise. Cause I think if it happened during COVID or after COVID, like this might all been a little bit different of how this all played out, but we didn't have to deal with any of that. So it was slightly before that. But yeah, when it was all said and done, there was, I think, almost 100 doors from different teams. And we raised $69,000 just in doors, like old race car parts that we as racers were going to hang in the garage wall or give to a buddy or throw away.
Right.
That other people, that fans wanted to be part of this to donate to a cause, but then also have a cool piece of garage art at the same time. We together kind of got that all through. And then Patty set up a benefit with Lake Park Pub and Brian Rasmussen was the owner. He owned Brent Strelka's car at Kaukauna.
Okay.
So like we had the fundraiser. So then it turned into, this is where you can come like to pick up your doors, meet the drivers, take photos, and then, 50/50s and raffle baskets and everything else. And that raised like another, $30,000 just that day of the event, just the response.
Yeah,
So
no kidding.
like all said and done, like start to finish, this little idea to maybe get a couple $100 turned into over 6 figures, just like that.
No kidding. That's cool.
And then, you started getting nervous a little bit with all like the media response and just how much money we were talking about. Like, this was never my intention. Like, do we need a, nonprofit fundraising thing? But then the more I looked into it, it's like, well, no, if you think back, like I posted my door and my door went for $1,500. That's my donation to this. That's all I'm in it.
Yeah.
Then you posted your door and your door went for $1,400 or $1,800 or whatever it was. That was your donation, because these were all like separate donations, like going into this fund. Like we got around all the Uncle Sam stuff, which was just like another huge blessing in disguise. I don't know, maybe they'll come after me now after posting this, but no, like
we allegedly accumulated all that money.
But yeah, it was, again, it's when I'm all said and done racing, like that'll be the biggest accomplishment, being able to connect back with our local community, somebody in need. We lost Charlie a few years ago. I still have on my Facebook memories, like he sent me a video on my birthday. Like I'll never not share that on my birthday, like every year. Just how thankful he was for us trying to help and donate, because it wasn't just about like his condition, but like his parents needing to run him to Minneapolis and spend nights there at the hospital. And, here's this little boy that's just trying to live a little boy normal life.
Yeah.
And he can't do all the things he should be able to do. Pretty sad story. And on top of it, then he had his cancer that came in, with it. So,
Okay.
Here's all the odds stacked against you. Now this on top of it. And he outlived, all the different timelines that they gave him. And he was a fighter, right to the end. And, we lost him. I think it was 3 years ago now. Sounds about right. 3 or 4 years ago. But, Trish and everybody in the Knuth family, just so thankful for everything the racing community did to connect with that family and really try to help them out. And, it's crazy to think back of how that kind of took off and went. And I've seen, like, since we've done that, like other people have done versions of it, because we still all have race car parts and we still have causes to try to support. Like there's one down by Jefferson right now called like Pins and Pistons, or I might be getting it wrong, like Pistons for the Fight or something like that. And they're doing the same kind of thing. And it's awesome to see, because like, that's what we should be doing. Like, we're using our racing platform, our racing sport, something that's given back so much to us personally, not just to go win trophies and put on a show for the fans, but let's use social media as a positive platform to also connect with our community and give back. And that's why I'm so involved with like the Toys for Tots stuff. We use the race trailer every year, going around the Fox cities and pick up all the tots for kids with the race car trailer and bring it to the Salvation Army.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many different things we all could be doing to pitch in and do our part and reconnect with the community that's given so much to us. So.
Yeah, I agree. No, I mean, so on the Charlie topic, yeah, I mean, just I wanted to talk about that because I remember it just, escalating. I remember, probably seeing it initially, start off, and, it was like, man, there's like 12 guys doing this. So it's like you read into it and it's like, okay, like Andy's kind of doing this, and, I'm like, man, you know what? I'd like to contribute to it too. And it's just like, yeah, it just snowballed. And yeah, I mean, yeah, it got to be such a cool thing. And, but no, that's awesome to hear how you look at that too, being, your greatest accomplishment. I think that's, that's spectacular. That's pretty darn cool. But, to go off your point there, I think, there are so many things that racers can do to, use their platform, and not only just to benefit a cause, but, it's whether it's good for themselves and their sponsors, but, most importantly, to be able to use use what you can to go and benefit, Toys for Tots, things like that. I like the idea that using the race trailer to go and haul stuff for Toys for Tots. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it didn't start out that way. The first year it was kind of like we're getting together and we're going to organize these toys and we're going to bring them there, and then like everybody's loading up fishing poles and sleds and all this stuff in their trucks and like running it over there, and it's like, we got the race trailer sitting in storage. Like let's load that thing up. And I got a 40-foot gooseneck, so it's kind of cool. Like rolling around town in the off season, because it's early December when you do Toys for Tots, and just stopping at all these local businesses. And it is amazing to me the businesses that donate and how much they do. And it's not always the ones like you would think. Like if you think of the Fox Valley, like the big name is like Bergstrom. Like Bergstrom does a good amount, but they're not like the main like supplier. So like you'll go to like just some of these one-off bars and they'll be like, yeah, you're gonna have to make 2 trips, like we got this much, because they'll just run like different promotions, like bring a toy in and you get $5 off your bill, or you get a free drink, or whatever it might be. And they just like Prime Time in Menasha is like a big one I think of, is like you normally wouldn't think of like a bar like that to have that, or camps in Little Chute. And it's just amazing. Like you go in there and you see the support from all of their local patrons that are all in on that. It's pretty cool to be connected to that and help out with that the way we can. So yeah, we plan a day where we run to all the businesses with the trailer, pick everything up, load it in. And then we go back to my buddy's garage and we unload all the toys, and then we sort them all, which it sounds as messy as it is. And then you try to sort it all by like, this is sports, this is for, girls under the age of 6, this is for teenagers. And you try to, these are board games, whatever. Try to have it all organized. That way you can bring it to the Salvation Army. Like they just got a bunch of volunteers there too. So like, at least it's all organized and it can go like to the specific spots,
Yeah.
And it's pretty overwhelming when you go our Salvation Army in Outagamie counties in Menasha. Like it's pretty overwhelming when you go there and just see like the amount of stuff there and the amount of families that are in need, and just how many people. I think it was, man, I'm going to get this number wrong, but I think it was like 30,000 families last year, like that were going through there, to give their kids the Christmas that they deserve that they couldn't. So,
well, that's awesome. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so many families can go there and do that. Wow, that's awesome. Now, thinking back to 1999, so are you heading into your 27th, 28th year of racing? What does that come?
Yeah, that sounds right. I'm getting to be the old guy. Like I joke about that all the time. Like even racing the sport truck last year, it's like, I used to race with your dad. Oh no, I used to race with your grandpa. Yeah, I used to say it all the time. I used to race with your dad. No, actually, I used to race with your grandpa. So no, this will be my 28th year racing. Yep. So it's interesting because I used to be the young kid, like the young up and coming kid on the block, and then you're kind of like in the middle of the pack, and now you start looking around the room and it's like, who's older than me in the Super Late Skakana Weekly? It's like Lowell's still out here. JVO is back this year, and Pete Vandermolen, who went in the Circle of Fame last year. And then I'm like, shit, I'm next. But no, enjoy every minute of it. It's been such a big part of my life. And one of the things I've shared with a few people this year that's got me like refreshed and rejuvenated is my girlfriend and her kids have never seen me win. Like we've been together a year and a half and she's never seen me win a race. So like, I'm really fired up about that. And I've always historically been a person who's like, I want to be consistent. I want to run up front. I want to keep the nose clean. Like I want to chase a championship. And, my goal is always just to have the most points of anybody at the end of the night. And I didn't really care. Like I cared, but I didn't like put as much of a premium on winning. I was more just like, be consistent and be clean and like keep that through there. Now I just want to win races. So like my mentality shifted where I don't want to focus as much as I have the last 20 years on just points. I'll start counting points on week 2. Like that's how I was, because I was always focused on the end of the year. Like where you ranked in the standings is what your peers thought about you is what I thought. But no, now I just really want to focus on getting back in victory lane, winning races, being able to share those memories with new people that are in my life the last year and a half that weren't there before, that haven't seen it. So our last feature win was a state line challenge up at Norway, but that was July of 2024. So like you think about that and it's like, damn, we're coming up on 2 years. We got to get back winning races. So
yeah,
like, I'm not going to sandbag and start on the pole and just win and do stuff like that. But I really want to focus on just getting back to victory lane and winning races. And, you know, racers say it all the time. If you focus on that, like the points and the title chase stuff will come with that. As long as you aren't doing stupid stuff like ripping the nose off every week to try to get there. So having know when to go and when not to go. You know how that is. Yeah.
You know, so you're talking about, you know, wanting to, you know, get back in victory lane so, you know, they can witness that. So you kind of have that. But, you know, after, you know, being in super late models as long as you have, and, you know, racing in general, as long as you have, you know, what are the other things that, you know, keep you going and like, hey, this is the thing that, you know, really fuels me. I know I've, you know, personally gone, and it's like, you know, it might be, you know, similarly, like one of my goals is like, man, I want to pitcher in victory lane with each of my kids. And like, I've gotten that, like, that was huge to me to get that. And, you know, but there's times where it's like, man, hey, I love coming back because I feel there's people that appreciate me being here. I love seeing these, you know, fans or people at the track, and it's like, you know, that fuels me. And it's like, you know, this other thing, you know, what is it on your end that's just like, hey, it's worth to keep putting in all the time, the money, the effort, the relationships on and off the track, you know, all that stuff that really goes into it.
Yeah, for me, I think it continues to be the challenge and just how competitive super lates are. And I know a lot of people have shifted away from super lates because of the cost and because of the technology. And for me, that really drives me to want to work harder and understand it and try to keep up with it. You know, there's been other people that'll drop down to the pro lates and they're like, I don't want anything to do with that. I'm just happy here doing this. I'm kind of driven the other way where I'm like, no, I want to figure this out and I want to understand this. And when you're collaborating with some of those people, you know, like on the way here, I was talking to Jeff Cannon from FRS, you know, about shock stuff. Like he's explaining stuff to me that's way over my head, but I want to understand it because I want to be able to apply it. And I want to be able to share like that feedback with my team and understand it. It'd be easier just to kind of give up and push that. But I think that's what makes super lates so competitive. And, you know, a 30-second packer in the left front, change a load 350 pounds. Like that seems just asinine and insane to people, but I think that makes it fun. Like the hard makes it fun. It makes it worth it. It makes it challenging. And for me, you know, like most racers, I'm sure you're probably doing 85, 90% of the work yourself as a driver, owner. You know, I'm dealing with the sponsors and I'm getting the car ready and, you know, paying the bills and everything else that goes into it. But just the drive to like consistently try to get better and try to understand the technology and keep up with it really kind of drives me to keep coming back. And super lates at Kaukauna is not easy. It's not easy at any track, but the level of competition has been so high there for such a long time. That's what really kind of drives me to keep coming back and being able to do it with my family. You know, my mom and dad are still there every week, pit right next to my brother. He runs in the pro late class, you know, watching him, he won championship a few years ago in that class. You know, being able to work together, you know, I was just at his shop on Saturday, changing U-joints and drive shafts, and he asked me to bump steer his car. And my dad walked in, and he's like, why is he changing your U-joints, but you're doing bump steer on his car? It's like, we didn't even think about it. Like, it doesn't matter to us. Whatever's just got to get done, just got to get done. That's just how we do it, you know? So being able to do it with family, being able to still have fun and do it. And then, honestly, as I am approaching my 28th, I think we figured out was year, I really value racing on Thursday nights. And I know that's a challenge for other people that don't live in the Fox Valley. But I enjoy it because it's almost like your night out. It's almost like a bowling league or a dart league or softball league.
Yeah.
You go racing on Thursday night and like everything goes kind of normal. Like you unload on Friday and you still have your weekend to do what you want to do with your family and your friends. You know, we got a place in Door County. We don't get up to it as much as we'd like to. But like go do that or go boating, you know, run down to Slinger, you know, Travis and Kelsey support their show on Sunday night. Do different things, you know, other than being at the racetrack every Friday or Saturday. You know, I did that for years when we ran the WCS, and that was cool at the time. But, you know, there's just other priorities in life. And when you have kids and they're involved in activities and different things, it's fun having your weekends free and not having your summers locked down to do be at the racetrack every week to you.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, and we're talking about all this, the different technology and where it's really kind of came to, and I agree that as much as a person may get frustrated with like, oh man, like this stuff has come so far, like I feel like I got to have this new thing to be able to check this on my car to get the setup dialed in like this. Like, I don't know. I mean, it takes a fairly smart individual to be able to do some of that stuff, and it's pretty badass to be able to use that technology. And what is it like seeing like what you started out in and seeing it progress to what it is now?
It's hard to think about and really reflect back on like all the stuff that's changed from now to then. Like we talked before about shocks and springs, because that's the easy one, but I mean,
you think like big bar soft spring stuff coming in and coil binding springs and all this.
That, and like even the bodies are different. Like we didn't even have ABC bodies when I first went on the half mile. Like that was like a thing that we all evolved through, and now you got the old body and the new body, and now they're teching the old body differently and giving more spoiler to the new body, and keeping up with that. And like just the tires, we ran the 30, 35, 45s for years, and now we're on the ST1s and 2s, and they change them every year. So like just keeping up with the constant with that. If you stay stagnant, like you're just going to keep falling behind your competition, and, staying on top of that. But yeah, I think the other thing for me is something I really didn't value, that I probably should have through the years, is just all the technology and safety. When I started, I had a full containment seat. I had a Hutchins device, and no, actually, let me back up one step. In the sport truck, I had a neck roll. Remember those things?
Yeah. Were those in go-karts?
Yeah, the neck roll. But yeah, all the technology and safety. I was just putting my helmet together, bought a new helmet for this year, and just like the different technology and everything to make everything safer. Like, I don't think I appreciated or valued as much as I do now, being through a few nasty wrecks at Kaukauna and some other places. I think put a premium on that, and understanding the technology and all the stuff that goes into that. And it's easy to point back to 2001 when we lost Dale Sr., and that's when the whole shift to safety like all had its trickle-down effect. But it really has changed so much, from that time frame to where we are now. And I honestly feel safer in my race car than I do driving here today on Highway 10. I work for an insurance company. I do total loss claims. With my team, we total about 60 cars a day. So we look at all this stuff, and I see like how these cars hold up, and you're just looking at it. And like, I literally feel safer in my race car because of all the technology than I do in a street car going down the highway.
Yeah. Wow, 60 cars a day. No kidding.
Yeah, it's kind of insane, ain't it?
I wouldn't. I mean, is that Wisconsin or like?
Yeah, that's just one insurance company and one state. So,
God, I wouldn't have guessed that. But I mean, you had several million people across the state and visitors coming in and out. So yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So that's pretty wild. Yeah. So we can talk about the technology and all the different like setup changes and all that stuff. But that's probably the one thing I think we all kind of just take for granted or lose sight of, that in the last 25 years, the safety has really gotten to the next level for all of us, even at the local level, which is great to see.
Yeah, I think you've definitely seen more and more people, I think about my first year in Super was 2010, and it's like, you see more and more people in full containment seats, and it's not, just the seat with the right side headrest anymore. That's just, just a piece of, bent aluminum or essentially with a pad on it. But yeah, so, you see, people having really good seats, and, obviously the, helmet technologies, come a long way too. And, Yeah, it's definitely something that you don't want to take for granted. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, and we're not racing at NASCAR tracks that have the safer barriers, but I was fortunate 2 years ago at Kaukauna in the 250 to hit in a spot where we had soft walls, and to think back if they didn't have soft walls there, how that might have turned out. I don't. That might end in my racing career right there. Just hitting a bad spot on the track, hitting the styrofoam. Made a mess of the car. The thing was completely destroyed. But for me, just to get out and walk back to the pits and not have a scratch on me, was pretty remarkable. So,
yeah,
attribute to the safety there too.
Yeah, I remember that car was pretty tore up after that. Yeah, was it a lot of frame damage too, or what was the loss on that one?
Yeah, it was kind of one of those things where. Could it have been fixed? Yeah. The amount of time you would have put into a car that was already 4 years old that now needed an entire interior and body and suspension. It's kind of like, at what point do you spend the same amount to just start over? So we reused some of the things from that car, but a lot of that stuff was just, it was time to go.
Yeah.
I already had in my mind before that happened, like I was already talking to the guys at Reed about building a new car, and it was kind of already like in the discussions, and I was going to keep my old car just to have as like a travel car, bring to Norway. Maybe put a crate in it, like you should have at Norway when I go up there and I don't. Things like that. And so that the writing was on the wall after that happened. But I ended up selling that car to Tommy Behrens down at Slinger, and he put a right side rail in it and a front clip on it, and then got it repowder coated and looks good as new now, right? And so he's going to start putting it together and maybe run some super late stuff at Slinger part-time with it. So it's still around, but for us, it was time to move on after that one.
Okay. Was that a Reed chassis too that had gotten
it was a Fury with a Reed clip on it.
Okay.
So that was one of Casey's old cars that he had with Travis.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. Now, what are some of the bucket list things that, whether you race for another 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, whatever it may be, like if there's something like, hey, I want to go and do and make happen, what do you got on your list when you sit and think about after you're having some Busch Lights?
Yeah, Busch Light Apple. It just came out today too. Yeah, I mean the pinnacle for me, and we joke about this all the time, would be winning the 250 at Kaukauna.
Oh, sure.
Such an iconic event, such the level of competition that comes in for that.
I mean, look at the people that have won it.
Yeah, and just the challenge of 250 laps when you take your tires, the adjustments you make, all that stuff. I've finished I think our best is like 7th or 8th in it, but we're gonna keep trying. And I joke all the time, like if we ended up winning that race, the car will just stay on the front stretch. Like we'll just drink till we don't have any beer left in the cooler, and that'll be my retirement party right there. Like I'll take the McCarnes 10 or 15 grand and just go buy a boat. Like I think I'm done at that point. So that'll be my walk-off shot if we ever won 250. So that would be the pinnacle for me. And we touched on a little bit before, like being so close so many times for the red, white, and blue. That would mean a lot to like check that one off the list, because it's right there and it's in our backyard, and it's a 3-race series. So you got to qualify good, you got to run your prelim good, and you got to finish like top 3 in everything to have a shot. And then it's just always like one of those, I guess you'd call them 9 events. If you got 3-point opportunities in each one, one of those don't go your way, like you miss out. So that would be another one that's up there for me. Winning that state line challenge at Norway was pretty cool a couple of years ago, because we had been going up there and trying to win that. And that was a pretty iconic event for a long time up there. And
yeah.
Winning that,
because that race goes way back too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, way back. I think into either the 70s or definitely the 70s into the early 80s. A lot of names on that list that have won that race, and that was pretty special to me. So yeah, I would say probably just those couple. Like, I'm more realistic to say like I'm gonna go win the Slinger Nationals. Like I went to Slinger last year and I got my ass kicked. Like I know that's not gonna happen. I'd love to get down there and race more. Travis and Kelsey are good friends, and they're doing a great job with that place. We just struggled there. It's not a track that's historically like fit my driving style or the setup I've had. But I'm not afraid to take my lumps and go down there because that's the only way you're going to get it better. Like I look at last year Mondyke when he won that feature down there. I was like, that's awesome because I watched Justin Mondyke come down here and not run so good before. So like, it's good that he like stuck with it and kept coming back, and to get that win is pretty awesome. So, yeah, I mean, Midwest Tour win anywhere would be awesome. I mean, more feasible for me at a track like Norway or Kaukauna. That's kind of more in my wheelhouse where we're most competitive. But like I said, I'm going to try to have some more fun this year. I haven't raced Jefferson in 20 years. I put that on my schedule this year. So we're going to go down there for the Orange Blossom special thing in August because they only have supers a couple times a year. That's all. I've never really been there unless you're going to go to a Midwest Tour or a Tundra race. Like you can't really get there. But yeah, I only raced there once, and our truck broke down on the way to the track, and we got towed into the track with the hauler and the trailer all in one. So we looked like the Red Green Show the only time we've been there before. That was a long time ago. So it'd be fun to just go run there and hit some other places, and just have some fun.
Yeah, that's a Jefferson and Norway both are. I've only been to Norway once and I've been to Jefferson a couple times. Both places, the race fans around there are just fantastic. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of fantastic race fans everywhere, but they just seems like the people just really come out for those places and just love racing. And so I enjoy going there when I do get the chance to go there too.
Yeah, Norway is definitely a favorite of mine because of that. It's kind of like going back in time, like 5 or 10 years. It's just very blue collar, very racing oriented fan base, and winning that state line challenge a couple of years ago. Pull onto the front stretch and pull down, and I got the Busch Light car and stuff, and I get out of the car, and a guy came running across the track in his flip flops and shorts, and I'm like, what's this guy doing? Like, he's not with the track or anything. And it's a guy, he came over with his Busch Light. He wanted to take a selfie with me in Victory Lane. And then he took the selfie and he ran back in the stands. And I'm like, that really just happened.
That's awesome.
Really just happened.
That is awesome.
Now. And I got a picture of it because somebody sent me that. But that's just so funny that that's, obviously security probably got in trouble that night and shouldn't have let that fan go through like they did.
And that guy was probably in the stands. That Busch Light car wins. I'm running down. They're like, oh, you won't do it. And
yeah, his buddies were
pumping him up.
Yeah, so no, those places, J Track weekly show. I mean, just so many people. They have a great car count. They have a great thing going down there too. So be great to support that track.
Yeah, I went when the one time I raced at Norway, I stopped at a gas station. I don't know, it wasn't very far from the track, and I pull in and I see the guy behind the counter. He's looking out there. He's like, "You got a race car?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, racing up at Norway tonight. He's like, "Oh man, a lot of heavy hitters rolling into town tonight," and he's rattling off all the guys coming to town. And I was like, and you could tell he read the entry list, and he was just ecstatic. And I was like, man, I wish this was like this everywhere. People pump that, cars are coming to town and they got a race tonight, and it's cool. Yeah, I definitely know what you mean there with kind of like going back in time a little bit, but it was cool.
Yeah, they're so accommodating to people coming into, like, Joey or Stanchina. Like, they'll shoot me a text and be like, hey, are you coming up tonight? Because they kind of know, like, our situation with racing on Thursday. Like, I could plan and put all these races at Norway on my schedule for Friday, but depending on how Thursday goes, I'm either coming or I'm not coming. So a lot of times when we turn it around and do back-to-back, I'll change the gear and bump stops and stuff right at the track before I even load the car in the trailer. That way it's just go up there Friday and have fun. But yeah, they're so accommodating because they'll like message you and they'll save you a pit stall, and like Stanchina's guys will like sweep the dust off your pit stall as you're pulling in. Like, they want you to come race. They enjoy it. I don't think you get that everywhere. Sometimes you pull into other tracks and you're the outsider and you're like, that's this guy. What the heck's he doing here? And like the camaraderie is just so nice up there. It's great to see them continue on the way they have. And, we're at a little bit of disadvantage when we go race up there because we got a Southern Parts motor and pretty much everybody up there is running crates. So
it's a lot of power for that track.
250 pounds more than everybody else.
Okay.
So we usually qualify really good. We usually start out the first half really good, and then the second half of the race, like the tires and stuff, that weight comes into play.
Yeah.
But we kind of know the game, so like we play the game though accordingly the best we can. And it's just, it was so good to go back up there last year too, and run with the Midwest Tour. And we had a really strong run, led a bunch of laps, ended up finishing fourth. Just because every other time we go to Norway, it's kind of like, well, you know, you weren't racing against Dalton Zier, you weren't racing against Mondyke, you weren't racing against, you know, like it's like the but you know, you won the State Line Challenge, but who's in that race? So it was Brazen Bennett and Ty Fredrickson. Well, that's you only won because Dalton wasn't here, or Johnny Sauter wasn't here. So like to go back last year and go run really good and lead a bunch of laps and finish up front in a tour race, like that was really rewarding to be able to do that. Like, no, we run good here because we run good here. Doesn't matter who's racing here. We like this track. We got a good setup for it. And every time we go up there, we just have fun. You know, it's easy to, you know, get there for us. And I've explained this to a few people and they can't comprehend it, but like it's quicker for me to get to Norway than it is to Madison or Jefferson or even the Dells because of where we live. Like it's less than 2 hours straight north. And yeah, it's in upper Michigan, but you know, it takes me longer than that to get to Madison or the Dells, like where we live and how to get there. So it seems so far away for everybody else in our racing worlds because it's, you know, a 4-hour trip for Andrew Morrissey who lives in Madison or whatever.
Sure. Right.
But no, for us, it's like, it's easy to get up there. And like, if things go good on Thursday and we can change the gear and change a couple things, like we obviously have good notes, then we can just go right back up there and go have some fun and go race. And they're always very accommodating and we always have a good time. So.
Yeah. No, it's, good. It's a good time up there. I enjoyed it. It had a lot of, the track had a lot more grip than I thought it was going to have. I don't know what expectations I really had of it. I think just in my head, I just, worn out quarter-mile track. That's what it's going to be. But like, it's super smooth, you know, as long as you stay off the, you know, the rumble strips on the inside. But I mean, that's a fun track. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Back to the horsepower weight thing with the different motors.
Yeah.
We finished third at the fair race a couple of years ago, and I was talking to Lowell Bennett after the race, and me and him were going back and forth at the end, and he's like, yeah, I drive into like your bumper on entry, and then you'd pull me on exit, and I just could never, it was like this cat and mouse game the whole time. And then we got to talking, and I'm like, well, what did you have for gear in your car? He goes, oh, with the crate up here, we're running like 542. And I'm like, oh, well, I had a 642 in. So I had 100 points more gear between the crate and the Southern Parts motor. And like, you can figure it out pretty quick. Like, and I step on it, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
You know, but he's saving tire, and then like it all kind of plays together really well with the weight stuff. But yeah, it'd be fun to like build an actual crate car and go up there and race with like in the same playing field.
Yeah, exactly.
And bring in your super late. But I only have one car, so that's my only option is like we're either bringing this or we're not coming. So
right,
we put the weight on and we go play, and however it turns out is how it turns out. So. Some guys would just not go, you know, like, I ain't adding 250 pounds. That's crap. I'm staying home. Like, let's go race.
Yeah. You know, kind of, you know, on a similar note, you know, we have races where guys have great motors, guys have a Southern Super Parts or, you know, an LS or whatever. You know, if there's, you know, if you had, you know, the ability to see super late model racing or racing maybe in general, like going a particular direction or, you know, get more towards something that you feel would make it an improvement, you know, something that's been around racing, you know, and have your hand in as long as you have, you know, is there something, you know, direction you'd like to see racing get to? And it may not even be necessarily a rules thing, whether it's, you know, just kind of on the operational standpoint or anything, you know, if there's anything that out there that you would feel that would make the show better or, you know, the race cars better, what would you maybe throw out there?
Yeah, that's kind of a loaded question. So there's a lot of things that go through my mind, and I'm actually part of the Fox River Racing Club.
Yeah.
I got the treasurer job.
Okay.
Yeah, voluntold, like only one that stepped up to do it. So I've been doing that. So like I'm involved in a lot of the meetings.
Okay.
With the other officers and the track and the rules, and we talk about like this stuff all the time. You know, the big thing is just getting more people interested in our sport, and how do we do that?
Yeah.
Next generation. And we got a lot of flack when we jumped on the Crown Vic wagon this year, with having those a few times.
Really?
At Kaukauna.
Okay.
Slinger, kind of led the charge with that they were going to do it. And then we talked about it as our group and like, all right, let's do it, but we're going to do it on the half mile. So we're going to have Crown Vics on the half mile at Kaukauna this year. And there was a lot of pushback on that right away. But if we want to bring new blood into our sport and new people, they need to see something different. They need to see something that they're going to get excited
Yeah, I was excited to see that. I was excited to see, any of the tracks that are doing. I think it's a good way to go. Yeah.
Yeah. And like trying to keep, anytime you have a newer class, like, all right, what are the rules? How do we keep this in check? How do we let it not get out of hand?
Yeah.
Next thing you know, everybody's going to go buy Police Interceptor, Crown Vics, and tweak this and tweak that. And next thing you know, you got one guy running away with all of it, and it's not much of a show, and then everybody's got to spend a bunch of money to keep up with it. So I think when you have those entry level classes like that, like ruling it with an iron fist and controlling the costs to keep it affordable and keep it fun, otherwise it just got out of control. So like looking back, the pro late division, I guess, I don't even know why we call them pro lates. The limited late model division in Wisconsin is basically what the supers were 20 years ago. It's just the costs have gradually made the supers way higher.
Mm-hmm.
And now what it costs to run a limited late model is what it used to cost to run a super. And that's just because of the technology and all the money and stuff that goes into it. So, I think anybody could agree the super lates got out of control with 14 different motors and all the different stuff. And it's like, if you're going to add another motor, like you almost got to take two away. But then it's like, well, this guy's got this and he wants to race. So like the cheapest thing for everybody to race is what's in their garage. So you can't alienate people either and make them forced to change. So there's no magic bullet to like fix that.
No, definitely not.
I was a fan of like the LS package when it first came out. I never had one. Like I leased Ace Motors from B&B for 20 years, and Donnie and Mikey and Bruce, they took good care of me. And that's all I ever knew. Like the last couple of years, the first time I actually owned my own motor in a super. Like I just didn't know what I didn't know. But like in hindsight, that LS package is probably the right direction for our sport. And then maybe having it as a limited late model option on a 2-barrel, and if you're going to move up, bring your motor and put a 4-barrel on it and make it more cohesive between the divisions. And now, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm starting to learn a little bit more about this, but like the next version of that is the CT 525, which is like a super late model LS crate engine.
Yeah, I mean, I know of that package, but I don't know a whole.
But everybody's afraid of it because we already got too many motors. So like nobody wants to talk about it. But for the price point of where it's at and what we're paying to freshen a Southern Parts motor at the end of the year, like you can buy a whole motor. So like, what are we doing? So some of it like doesn't really make sense. And Lowell Bennett, for example, we could talk for hours, me and him, and just like looking back at it, it's gotten to the point in supers, like everybody feels like they need to build the top-notch $100,000 winning snowball derby car. And we don't, but we all did. It's like, well, if he's got it, then I got to have it. And then you start chasing speed and throwing money at stuff. And the supers have kind of obviously gotten a little bit away, and, it shows in the car counts. Kaukauna is historically one of the tracks that weren't really always affected by that. When you saw State Park had 9 cars, and some of the Marshfield, some of the other tracks were down in car count, Kaukauna was always still up there. Well, guess what? That hit us last year. Like there were some weeks we only had 12 cars.
Okay.
You start looking around the pits going, we got to do something before it's too late, or maybe it is already too late. The answer is, can we pay more? How can we control, costs? But the hard part is once everybody's got what they already got, it's going to cost some money to change. So, Bubba Pollard's quote from back 5 years ago was, I can't afford for y'all to save me any more money. And he's so true, because every time a rule's made to save us money, it costs us money. So it's counterproductive because we all got what we got. So I know like Greg McCarnes has tried stuff with like the Tour where we're going to give you a weight break if you have non-adjustable shocks, and you're going to give you 25 pounds. Well, then Next thing you know, it looks like a dirt modified trailer because you got 60 non-adjustable shocks in
Sure.
the trailer.
Yeah.
So then again, where are we at? Why we didn't save anything like doing those steps. So being mindful, being logical of that, getting that under control, getting new people into our sport. And then something we talked about when I got here tonight, just families and kids. And, if we can get the show done at a reasonable time and get those families down in the pits and let them enjoy the sport with us.
Yeah.
Let the kids sit in the car, take selfies, talk to their drivers. They're going to be begging their mom and dad to come back next week. If the race is done at 11 and they had to leave before it was done, and now the kids are fussy on the way home, and, they might not come back next week.
Yeah.
So, we are very mindful of that at Kaukauna. Like, we try to start on time, 6:30 every Thursday night. It's a weeknight on top of it. But trying to get that show done by 9:30 or sooner with 7 divisions, it's just like there's no intermission, there's no out of car introductions, there's no screwing around. Like, we got racing to get in, and we want to get it done because we want those people to enjoy the other part of the experience of coming to the racetrack. Is not just to watch race cars and go to the concession stand.
Right.
It's to come down and see the cars and meet the drivers and come in the pits and make those connections. And I think that's really how you're going to build the sport, is being able to do those things.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, and it's in general, my question I asked is, it definitely does feel like a loaded question. It's not easy to answer, but I think your widespread answer to all of it was perfect, and is a fantastic perspective, because I agree, whether it's a new division that just whether if you're a driver in, no matter what division you're in as a driver, you want to look in the stands and see a bunch of people. I've had those days where the races get done late. I want to get going too, depending on if I got a race the next day, or if I got something going on in the morning or whatever. But it's like it's already late, and it's like you're standing at the back of your car, and it's like I've had those nights where you don't even sign an autograph because not really many people come down, or maybe people just didn't want to come by my car. But yeah, so I think it's important to do all those right things and getting the show done to get those more people to the track and coming back. So no, I like asking that question when I can, to I feel the right people to get that perspective out there. So no, your answer was perfect. So yeah.
Yeah. And as we're getting into race season now in the spring, like a lot of the tracks will do like spring openers where they start at like 2 p.m. and like you see more people come in the pits. So like if you think of Cody, Memorial Day at Plover, they start the show at 2. It's usually done by 5 or 6, and it's still nice and it's still light out. The pits are packed.
Oh yeah.
But then you compare it to a Friday night at the end of June or whatever, and if you're not done till 10:30, like it doesn't look the same.
Right.
It's not any shape or form like the same kind of atmosphere, and being able to get those people like to meet their favorite driver, sit in their car, pick up a hot shot, or any of those things is how you're really gonna get that retention of your customer, quote unquote, to come back, your fan base, to really enjoy the sport. And I remember going to Kaukauna ever since I was knee high, like going to the races. That's what me and my brother and sister did. Like it's a family thing, and you grew up around it. But that's not every family. So how do you get them out to the track? How do you get them to enjoy their experience and make the most of it?
Yeah, for sure. Well, what else? We'll get into a little bit of what you got planned for 2026. But outside of racing, what do you like to spend your time doing?
Well, there's time outside of racing. Yeah, no. We talked about how much time super late stuff is, and it's kind of become a year round thing. But my daughter's 15, Chloe. She just got her temps, so that's been fun going out driving. Actually, I should say she's working on getting her temps, so we're kind of driving illegally until she gets her temps. She has the opportunity to get her temps, but no, being involved with her stuff, watching her grow into a young adult, and being dad at the 15-year-old girl, that's got its own challenges. So good luck to you. And
I got a couple more years before we're at 15.
So no, that's been a lot of fun. And my girlfriend Anna, her kids are 9 and 6, and that's been great too because when we first got together, she was like self-conscious of that, like, oh, like you're almost done, Chloe's almost on her way to graduating and off to college, like you're almost done. Are you sure about this? Like, you sure you want to start over? But no, it's been pretty awesome, like having them in your life, and her son Shay, like watching him get excited about racing and like watching racing
Sure,
on
yeah.
TV. We went to Florida and did the whole Disney thing and stuff a couple months ago, and that was the same week the Auburn Trail race was with the UARA, and we went to the track, and like he brings his iPad and like he's just like recording the racing and like he's watching it and like trying to understand and put it all together. So that's
cool.
pretty cool. And then Sutton, same thing. Like I just posted a video. She was I was getting my helmet and radios and all stuff set up this last weekend, and I had like, hey, you want to help me with something? She's like, sure. I'm like, all right, I got to get in my car. I'm going to put my helmet and my earpieces in. I want you to stay in the house with the spotter headset. I want you to talk to me, make sure it's all working.
Yeah.
So like, got 6-year-old Sutton on the radio, helping with that. So, no, it's pretty cool. Like she's into like riding horses. So like going to the barn, like I've never been exposed to like that stuff growing up. And like Shay shot his first turkey yesterday with his dad. That was pretty cool, to see how excited he was about that.
Yeah.
And just being involved in all their lives. So like, personally, like I value the family stuff and the time spent with them, much more than maybe I did previously, because it was just all about racing and it was all about going fast and working hard to get better. But having that balance in life, I think is super important to be involved and be in their lives. And watch them be excited about things. Shay just started flag football, and he asked if I'd help coach his team, and I was like, yeah, no problem. I'll help coach. So I signed up to be assistant coach, and we show up for the first practice / scrimmage, and yeah, I was the only coach. So I got to take that role on, like, oh, I guess I'm head coach now.
Yeah.
So I guess here's what we're doing. So that's been fun, like to be involved with that. Outside the family stuff, like between racing, I'm pretty diehard football guy, and you might know that from following on social media stuff.
Yeah, so. your NFL stats all the time. You post some of those once in a while. I'm like, man, I never would have thought about that stat,
Yeah, I get some of those off Twitter, but no, I kind of flip pretty hard. And me and Anna just talked about this the other night, like kind of at the end of August, early September, I'm really sick of racing just because of, the grind of 15 straight weeks weekly with a super late and all the upkeep. Like you're kind of done with it, and it's really a good transition because like football's just starting. So like then I get all in on like excited about the Packers, and I'm a Charger fan, and like
I thought you were football. A Charger fan, yeah.
Yeah, I've been to every Packer Charger game since 2003, whether it's California or here. So like those are my teams. They play once every 4 years. So like I follow them both, and then did the whole fantasy football thing, and sports book betting and all that stuff. So like follow it pretty like intensely, as my non-racing season. But then when football season ends, now it's time to get the race car stuff back going. So then it flips back the other way. So
yeah,
right now it's yo-yoed back to racing. But no, something you and I have talked about in the past too is just trying to be more in shape for even like being in the race car.
Sure.
Your fitness and running, and you're more active with it now than I was. But previously, the reason I got into all that stuff was it was 2013, super hot day at Kaukauna. It was the white race, and it was like 95 and humid. In the middle of the race, I was on the radio to my guys like I was going to pass out, and I was ready to pull off the track. And, they kept me like inspired to stay out there, and we caught a caution, and I caught my breath, figured it out. We ended up going on and winning that race, but I just always remembered back to like, I almost pulled off the track. I almost passed out. Like I was exhausted.
Sure.
Like I got to take better care of myself, my body. And then I started picking up running and started doing 5Ks. And then next thing you know, you're doing Bell and Run 10Ks. And then next thing you know, hey, we're doing a half marathon. Did a couple duathlons, really enjoy that. And now,
was that the bike and running?
Yeah. So you do 2 miles running, then you get on the bike for 20, and then you get off and you run 2 miles again.
Where do you do that?
They had one in Wrightstown that I did, and they have one in Neenah, but they have different ones spread around. one of the duathlons I did was the morning of the Tundra race. So we were probably racing that day. It was
Okay,
at
I was going to
Kaukauna.
ask you if you've ever done something that coincided with a race event, because I always thought that would be neat as heck to do, but I never did it.
Yeah, the Tundra race, I think it was maybe 2020. Um, it was a race at Kaukauna, but it was a night race that they had. So that duathlon was the morning at like 9 in the morning, but we didn't need to be to the track till noon.
Okay,
So like got all hydrated, did all my stuff,
sure.
did the duathlon, um, finished fourth in my age group. And then turned around, brought the stuff to the track, got ready, like went through tech, did the whole practice thing. And what was funny is that day we qualified fourth. We finished fourth in the quick 5 dash, and I was fourth in the feature, and I was fourth in the
Fourth in the
duathlon.
age group, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I should go casino. Like, there's something with the number 4 here.
Four,
today.
yeah.
But but no, I was pretty exhausted after that day. That was a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah,
Duathlon's pretty fun. I enjoy biking. Yes, as I've gotten a little bit older, running is a little more harder on your body and your joints, and you're kind of like, you go run for 5 miles and then you don't want to run for the next 3 days because you're a little sore. Where it's like you could hop on the bike and go ride 15, 20 miles and go ride 15, 20 miles again tomorrow. So it's kind of fun getting into that. And the duathlon part is a challenge. It's not so much the first run and it's not so much the biking, but after 20 miles of biking, jumping back off the bike and trying to run
I can
again,
imagine that.
you feel like Gumby. Like
Yeah.
your legs are not going that direction, and it's pretty challenging. So if you ever want to get on the bike and do one of those, I'm game to get back.
Yeah,
into
that would be cool, because I mean, like the triath. So I'm currently training. Have you done anything over a half marathon?
I have not.
Okay,
That was
so
my
I'm
max.
currently training for a full marathon. I'm going to do the Grandma's Marathon in Duluth. That's in June. Yeah, towards the end of June. So I'm going
Awesome.
to do that. I think so. I've done 2 or 3 half marathons, and then that's been a couple of years. So now I've always wanted to do a full. So I'm like, well, the race schedule's a little light this year. So we're going to do a full in June. So I'm kind of excited to do that. But yeah, no, I've thought about the biking thing would be kind of neat, but I've kind of always, obviously, you hear of triathlons, and I'm like, I don't want to know what kind of practice it would take to learn how to swim that well. So, that I don't have a whole lot of interest in. So the duathlon thing would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, they do in Green Bay. I'm trying to think of the name of the park, but they do a sprint triathlon where it is literally like oh man, I'm going to get this wrong. Maybe like a 50-yard swim. It's like a super short swim. And then it's a 5K run and like no, I should correct myself. It's the swim, and then it's only like 12 miles on the bike and then a 5K run. So it's like, it's all the events, but they're all like shortened down.
I could swim 50 yards, I think.
Yeah, that's a pretty popular one. Because I was like looking at the water and I'm like, that's like almost like waist deep water. Like you could literally just like
Power walk through it.
power walk away. Yeah, and just get to that part's done. But they got to start with the swim, because if you end with the swim, you might have more safety personnel needed for people that are exhausted trying to finish that part. But no, that's how I kind of got into all that stuff. And kudos to you for doing the full. Like I never got to that.
I haven't done it yet. We'll see.
Yeah, just like I think what people don't realize is what goes on. We can post and share like we did the event and our time and how we finished. It's all the training stuff. Like when it's a Tuesday night, you had a long day at work and you're feeling like crap, and you're still going to go out and run 12 miles tonight. Like people don't realize that discipline.
Oh yeah.
To stay motivated to do that. So kudos to you for staying on top of that, because I'm sure your training plan has you. If you're doing that in June, I'm guessing you're probably needing to be like 16 miles already.
My longest one at this point will be 14 on Sunday. So
close,
yeah. But yeah, no, I think, I mean, this will be, I'll have over, I'll be like close to like 125 miles I'll put on this month when April's done, I think, just with what way my plans end up laying out. But yeah, so it's, I mean, I run 5 out of the 7 days a week. So it's, I think like tomorrow I got like 4 miles, and Wednesday's 8 miles, and then 6 miles on Thursday, and then Friday off. And then, but yeah,
and it could be windy. It could be rainy. Like, it's easy to just throw in the towel and quit when it's crappy weather out, but if you're going to stick to your plan, you got to go.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. And once you started doing that, like what did you feel like the difference was in the race car? Because I know how it felt for me, because I probably got into running in, I'm going to say 2015. Yeah, 2014, 2015, somewhere around there. Yeah. But yeah, what did you feel like the difference made for you then?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was just mental clarity. You weren't so focused on just like breathing and catching your breath, and like, we didn't have like watches with heart rate monitors and all the crap now like we do. But I'm guessing like heart rate before all that was like 180, 190 when you're in the race car, and then you're kind of like your body's almost like in a, flight or fright type mode. And then you're trying to race and concentrate and do all that stuff. So I think after I got into that, it was just like the mental clarity, being able to focus more and being more consistent, hitting your marks. And then selfishly, those days when it was super hot and humid that you dreaded before, you loved it now.
Oh, I looked forward to them.
I'm looking forward to it because I know 90% of my competition is not conditioned for this. And you think it kind of gives you an upper hand. Like, yeah, it's 131 degrees in my race car today. Like, let's go sweat our butts off today. And I know like physically I'll be able to power through that because you conditioned yourself to do it now. Not as active as I was the last couple of years as I was previously, but still trying to like stay on top of it, stay in shape, stay hydrated. Because I've had other times when you don't, there was a hot day at the 250, and I don't remember the year on this, but like you're trying to get your car through tech, and then you're at driver's meeting, and then I'm helping with tires, and like next thing you know, you put 15,000 steps on that day in the pits, bouncing around all this stuff, and then you're like, oh shit, we're going to line up for the race, and like I didn't even have a bottle of water today. Like that's gonna kick your ass pretty quick. Yeah. So like I've had those races like that, and I don't want to do that anymore. For sure.
Yeah, that was kind of a similar thing for me. As like I just felt it was once you get more conditioned, physically, it was just one less thing you feel like you had to overcome. Like while you're driving, it's just you didn't worry about it as much. And then I think as I kind of like dove into like hydration and learned more about that sort of thing, I like just like if it was 90 degrees out, just like the next day I just felt better. It felt better. It's not like I ever felt bad, but it was just kind of like meh. Like I was out in the 90-degree heat and sweated a bunch, but it's like it wasn't too bad. Like carry on, But
yeah, I used to be just like a water guy too before like running and all that stuff. Like just drink water, just drink more water, And then it's like you start learning about electrolytes and all the other things like your body's losing, and like you're applying that the other way. Like you can really make a difference if you're very conscious of it. I joked last year, 250, this is going to be 85 degrees. And like the days leading up, like, all right, I'm not drinking this weekend. I'm going to stay hydrated. I'm going to eat better, pasta up the night before, almost like your running tricks.
Sure. Yeah.
And then the morning of the 250 last year, I woke up and I'm feeling like $1 million. I'm like, yes, this is awesome. This will be a good day. And I totally threw out my back, putting my socks on. Like an old man would do. And I get to the track and I'm like hobbling around, and Aaron and Ted on my team are like, what the heck's with you? I'm like, don't worry about it. I threw my back out, put my socks on this morning.
But I'm hydrated.
Yeah, but I'm hydrated, ready to go. Yeah. So, but no. I'd encourage you if you ever wanted to get into biking. Like, I think the other thing that I maybe didn't realize, besides how much easier it is on your body, is the benefits of like cross training, how much it actually helps you with running.
Sure.
Because you're cross training your body. But then also when you live kind of like where you do here, like if you go for a run, there's only so many things you're going to see. You see the same crap every time. It just kind of gets to be monotonous. When you get on the bike, like you can check out a lot of different stuff because you're going so much further.
Right. Yeah.
Different paths, and they got great bike trails in the Fox Valley and different things. But yeah, on the bike though, I'll admit I'm a wind snob. So I never paid attention to wind before till I started biking. If I see it's like 15 miles an hour or more wind, I don't go on my bike. Like I'm not doing it because I've been on my bike before and it's like 20 mile an hour winds. Yeah. I'm like, this is just stupid. This isn't even fun at this point. Meanwhile, my girlfriend hops on her e-bike and she's just like, "What's your problem?" You're just going up the hill, pushing the button. Yeah, okay, cheater.
There's no battery in this, and that's the problem.
Uh-huh. She's convinced to get me in an e-bike though, so I don't know. I still think it's cheating, but they are fun. And I have just a road bike, so like my tires are like this wide.
Okay.
So like I'm not going off-road trail riding or anything, but
Is that what you got to have for the duathlon? Is just kind of like a skinny road bike tire?
you don't have to, but it's just kind of one of those things, like depending on what your course is and stuff, like that's going to be the most efficient, right?
Yeah.
You know, just to not have like any drag. And there's guys that got, no different than racing. You guys show up with carbon fiber frames and the whole like 9 yards, depending on how committed you are.
Yeah.
The other funny thing about like a duathlon is there is, so not only do they time the run and like the bike and then compile it all together, they have these transition times. So like it's almost like racing where your time spent in the pits, because when you run before you get on your bike, people are changing shoes. Like my bike has like clip-on pedals, so you switch into your clip-in shoes to bike and then take those shoes off. So like when you're in the duathlon with your racer mentality, like I got to beat this guy out of the pits. We're coming in, we're changing tires, like it's changing shoes, like changing tires. I'm going to beat him out of the pits, and other people are like lollygagging around, taking a drink of water. It's like, no, let's grab and go. We got to go.
Yeah, that's
we
cool.
can make up some time here.
Yeah.
But no, if you're ever interested in that, it's fun, and it's just a different challenge. So maybe I'll have to get in the pool, and then we could add the triathlon part to the swimming aspect of it.
Like I said,
your daughter's into swimming, right?
Yeah, just got home from swim
See,
lessons.
there you go. My daughter Chloe, she was on a swim team too.
Okay.
I did a couple of her practices with her. Have you ever done that yet? Sometimes they ask the parents.
No. We're learning. Maya's learning how to backstroke.
Okay.
So.
So when she gets a little bit older, if she sticks with it, they'll ask the parents to come to a practice if you're interested and jump in the pool and do the whole training regimen.
I mean, I'd love to shoot off the platform. That looks fun.
Yeah, we got to do all that, but like it's a workout. Like my daughter Chloe, like she was as fast doing the breaststroke as I was doing freestyle. Like it's crazy to think about just all that goes into that.
Yeah, the mechanics and
But it's a workout too. Like, it's not just sitting in the pool and treading water and all those other things. It's just like going off the platforms, the flip turns, all the different things. And if she sticks with swim and ends up doing meets, then like there's a lot to like, if you do a flip turn wrong off the wall, you're getting disqualified. Like they call you on it. Like they want the technique. It's got to be the right way. So
interesting.
Yep. You'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. Right. Yeah.
Then they'll ask you to volunteer because they need an assistant coach, and then you'll be the head coach like I am right now.
I'm an assistant T-ball coach this year.
Okay.
So yeah. Yeah. Looking forward to that. Actually, I got the first practice tomorrow. So yeah, we're get that already.
Should be good weather finally.
Yeah, you're right. We'll see how long it holds out for. We'll get a couple weeks here, no snow again.
Yeah, Kakana just posted today they're gonna have the track open for practice tomorrow, and it's like, yeah, we're finally here.
Yeah. You ready to go?
Pretty close. Waiting to get the wrap on the car, and then we might sneak out either this weekend if it's available or next weekend. So we got a little bit of time yet. I felt less rushed this year, and there was a couple of reasons for that. Last off season, after the crash at the 250 in 2024, we had to build a new car. So like last off season was very busy, like building a new car from the ground up.
Right.
Get it all together, take it all apart, send it powder coat, bring it back, get everything together. And then, last year was kind of learning the whole car. So then this off season, it was kind of nice. Like I put a tail on it and 2 doors and like refreshing the motor and rebuilt the calipers and just kind of went through everything. But
yeah,
I also moved in August. We bought a house in Greenville in August, and I have the race shop at my house. So previously it was at my parents' house, and I'd buzz over there, 5-10 minutes away. But then you're always like back and forth and gone and trying to get this project done, or I got to run for nitrogen or whatever it is,
Yep.
Now it's at home. Now it's like, it makes a big difference when you can just pop out there for an hour and take care of this project. Or, how many times have we all done bump steer at 2 a.m. and it's not the way you want it, and finally you just say F it and it's good enough. Like, I don't have to do that anymore. I can just like stop and like come back with a fresh mind tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's been nice, like all winter, just kind of picking away at little projects here and there, and like car's basically been done for a month, other than getting the graphics on it and getting out to practice a little bit. So like 20 years ago, I would have been at the track like 3 times already, like itching to get out there. I got to make sure this runs. And now it's just kind of like, yeah, maybe we'll let 6-8 other guys go rubber in the track a little bit before I go out there. I kind of watch the weather and I'm like, if it's going to be 50 and cloudy, like that's not what we're going to be racing on Thursday nights. So why am I going to go waste my time? Like, I'd rather it be 75 and sunny, something closer to what we're actually going to race.
Learn something, right? Yeah.
Kaukauna is such a horsepower sensitive grip track too, where we've gone out in the spring on a green track with great air, and you're out there just knocking off lap times, and you think you're a world beater, and it gives you false hope.
I've been there.
You're like, oh, we're good, don't touch the thing, and then you show up for the Tundra race and you're just another car because
sun's out and it's warmer, and
what the hell happened? Nothing. So we're pretty close, pretty excited for this year. Got pretty much all of our sponsors back, a couple new ones came on board, and just really looking forward to getting out there. And we're only like 3 weeks away now, so be close. I know Dell started Slingers this weekend. Madison is next weekend. Again, 20 years ago, I'd have been out all those, Now I kind of pick and choose my battles a little bit more. With running a super, it's hard with one car, and you're trying to commit to do all that other stuff. I looked at maybe even going to Marshfield next Saturday. Like, it'd be fun to just go back and support that track and get one race under your belt before, the nitty gritty of Kaukauna kicks off for the year. They're doing some things out there to improve that place and get more cars there too. So, it's got to help support everybody. So,
right.
Yeah. So our plans this year, we'll run Kaukauna weekly on Thursdays, get up to Norway for the state line and the tour race. Maybe their opener too, depending on how it falls in schedule. This is the first year I actually made my schedule based around kind of more family stuff, honestly. So I'm divorced. My girlfriend's divorced. We both have 50-50 custody of our kids. And some weekends we have no kids. Some weekends we have one kid. Some weekends we have both, two kids. So like we look at the schedule and kind of how everything lays out. And I made my schedule this year on the weekends where we don't have kids. That way you don't feel guilty going to the racetrack knowing you're leaving them, with grandma or to a friend's house when you only have them 50% of the time. You want to spend 100% of that time with them. And they can come to the track and everything else. But, if they'd rather be doing something else, you'd rather be doing that something else with them too.
Right.
And understanding that. So we kind of just laid out the calendar, and it's like, all right, we're going to race Thursdays. Like, that's already locked in. But like, what are our open weekends? And then we kind of made the special races just around the schedule with the family. So it kind of feels really nice. And then you're not feeling like rushed. Like last year, I'll give you an example. We ran the Tundra race. It was the last race at Marshfield, I think, at the end of the year. It was like October 2nd or something. And it was a weekend where I had my daughter. But then it was just like this constant back and forth of like, well, here's when I'm leaving and here's when I'm going to be back. And like, she didn't want to come to the race, so she's at home, and then she's home, and then my girlfriend's home, but then my girlfriend wanted to come to the race. So it's just like, people don't understand, like, you're doing all this coordinating, and then the easy answer is, well, just make her go. Like, you're the parent. And it's like, well, I'm not going to make a 15-year-old girl go to a racetrack. She doesn't want to be there. She's just going to be miserable and be a pain in the ass all the time, me too. So, like, coordinating all that stuff, it's just one less thing you have to worry about. Making the schedule this year with those specials, like we mentioned, Jefferson and hitting some of the other tracks, it's just going to make it a lot more fun. Hopefully put our best foot forward and try to win more races and not worry so much about points. So I say that, and then week 3, I'll be leading points. You watch, and then I'll be like, I got 2 on Griesbach. I wonder if I get 1 more on first. I'll be counting. You watch. Old habits hard to break.
Yeah. Especially when we want the end of the year outcome to be good, right?
Yeah, I always value that. I don't know, that's just how I've always been wired is, you know, at the end of the year where you stack up is, what do they say in football? Your record is what it says who you are or whatever. Like it doesn't matter how good a year you had with everything else, like at the end of the day. And there's a lot of people that don't even race for points anymore. Like they just pop around and do all the specials. But no, this will be in my 28th year. I've only missed 4 Thursday nights.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah. So like we've always been, in it for the long haul for the season. 2 of those were accident related, and the other one was I was kicked out for a week. So
Okay.
actually, that 2 of them were I was kicked out for a week. So.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Was that from the super late model division or different divisions?
Oh, you want to talk about those, huh?
We don't have to.
One was in a sport truck, actually. That was a good learning lesson. I was in a sport truck, and I had a truck that looked very similar to another guy, and he ended up dumping someone, and they were black flagging what they thought was him, but they were black flagging me. So they had the wrong person, and they admitted that after the fact. Well, they were black flagging me, and I didn't pull off the track because I didn't know it was for me. We didn't have radios and all the stuff like we have now.
Yeah.
But yeah, they kicked me out for a week for not adhering to the black flag, even though it wasn't for me. So that was one lesson learned. Like, whether it's your fault or not, if you're getting black flagged, you have to leave the track. That's how this works,
Yeah.
And you plead your case later. But no, the other one was me losing my temper in 2015. I got dumped getting into turn 3, ripped the whole back end off the car. And I was pretty frustrated with the guy who did it. I had some run-ins with him previously. And when we were taking the back part of the car apart, needed a rear clip, fuel cell was bent, all the stuff. We're taking off all the parts in the pits and just putting them in a pile. And the rear bumper bar was like laying there all mangled in a pile. And I had the intention of walking over to his pit after the race when he pulled in and just like setting it on the hood cowl area and walking away without saying anything. That was my intention. Well, when I got about, 5 or 10 yards away, that bumper turned into a javelin and then all hell broke loose. So I rifled it at his windshield, and then the little fight broke out in the pits, and they kicked me out a week for that, which I deserved. With Rob Vandermoss, who I mentioned before, he was the club president at the time. He had to come talk to me and deliver that news, and I let him off the hook. Like, I already know. Yeah, I already know what's coming. I deserve it. Like, don't feel like you're gonna get in a big argument here. Like, yeah, I had that coming. So got to maintain your composure even in the worst of moments, and that got the best of me that night.
Yeah, that happens to the best of us. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, man, where can people where's the best place for people to keep up with your racing and all the stuff that you're up to?
Yeah, probably social media with Monday Motorsports on Facebook. We have a group there, or you can follow me Instagram, Monday10, Twitter. Got all those different ones, Snapchat, you name them. We have a great group of sponsors that support our team. Obviously, the most notable one is the Busch Light sponsor with Wisconsin Distributors.
Yeah, thanks for the gift. I don't think anyone's brought me a gift yet on any episodes.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, Busch Apple came out today, which is one of me and Anna's favorites. So we actually had one before I came over here today. Like, she came home from work, and I'm like, I got it ready for you. I had it in the fridge since noon. So we had one quick before we buzzed over here. So they've been a great sponsor of mine. Not only for just like the notoriety of like the brand and like the design of the car and the apparel, but just like all the connections and stuff we do. The Toys for Tots stuff is like directly through them. So DJ, who's my connection over there at Wisconsin Distributors, like, we're very involved and very active together, like giving back to the community, helping out this last week in Cheyenne and Fremont with the flooding stuff. Just all the different things. It's made me a better person, and it's better to be connected with a business like that that's willing to roll their sleeves up and give back to the community too. So that's pretty awesome. Siddons Martin Emergency Group's another big one on my car. They're the biggest Pierce dealer in the country. So Pierce is based out of Appleton with the fire trucks. Yeah. And they've been on board for 10 years. So that's probably my biggest sponsor on my car. And it kind of, I feel bad at times. It's like it gets drowned out with the Busch Light thing, but no,
Sure.
Sins Martin, they've been huge. They're on the hood of my car, and those guys are great. Even though they're not even in Wisconsin, like they're based out of Texas. They kind of have that whole Gulf region with their fire trucks and different departments. They've been a great sponsor of mine. Yeah, and just everybody who helps out on our team, we've got, 15, 20 associate sponsors that are really good. And they've been with me a long time. So been racing a long time. Can't do it without their support.
Yeah.
And same with crew, Craig Rothy's one of the longest tenured guys on my team. And he was actually on my dad's team when my dad raced back in the 70s and 80s. So it's kind of cool that Craig's still around racing, still enjoying it, and helping us out. Aaron and Ted on my team, Shane, who spots for me. Shane's been with me since day one, like since 99. And we've went different directions in racing a few times, but we always come back together, and now he's spotting for me. And it's been fun with Shane. He's got a sport mod now. So he was a 41-year-old rookie at 141 Speedway. So all the years of him helping everybody else in racing, now he's finally doing his own racing. So it's fun to go out there and help him. And I popped over to his shop, last weekend to help him bleed the clutch on his car and, things like that.
Sure.
Working together. But to see him enjoying the sport from the other side than just wrenching on stuff is pretty cool. But yeah, we're excited to go for this year and hopefully get back in victory lane where we belong.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, no, best of luck to you. And thanks for coming up and buying some race parts, but setting some time aside to come and do this. Like I tell everyone my biggest goals was to do hopefully all of these always in person. I know it takes people's travel time and time to come and do it, but it makes such a good show to have people here in person. So I appreciate all the time for you setting aside and come and making this happen.
No, it worked out great. And, keep doing what you're doing. You're a positive asset to the racing community, which is greatly appreciated, and doing stuff like this, just helping promote the sport, get more people involved and let people tell their story. I think a lot of people see our car number or our name and they I know that person, but do they really know that person? Like, they don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people over the years like, oh, Andy, I don't really like him. And it's like, well, why? Why don't you like him? Oh, because he ran my favorite driver into the wall once. Well, okay. Do you know anything else about him?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's so many different sides to everybody. And, if you really take the time to get to know all the people in this sport, it's pretty amazing. The great people we have across the whole state, across the whole Midwest that are involved in racing. So keep doing what you're doing, and much appreciated. And hopefully get to rub fenders with you again and get back behind the wheel.
Yeah, well, see what you can put together. But yeah, no, you're 100% right though. Just on the stories behind people, I think and that was the biggest intent behind a lot of this too. Is just like, yeah, people see the name and they see the car and they see the sponsors, but there's a whole awesome story as to how that person got from where they started to where they are now, and all the stuff they've been through in order to be there, or just to keep making a comeback. I mean, when you go and, put a car in a styrofoam wall, like it's, there's some contemplation on like, all right, there's some dollars that have to be spent here and some time that has to be spent here to, make this happen again. Like it's easier for some than others to make all that happen and put it back together. But it's like, I'm sure there's a ton of people that enjoy, obviously seeing you run on Thursday nights, and it's like, oh wow, I never knew that took that for, Andy to be able to come back here, or, this person went through that in order to, just for me to enjoy him running on a Saturday. It's like, yeah, it's like, people I just want people to be able to know as much of that as possible. I think it's just cool stuff that I think people need to know. So yeah, no, hopefully people keep liking it. So it's, I know it's been good just getting to know other people too myself. So it's been awesome.
Yeah, no, I think you hit a good point there too. Like we were talking about Mark Allen and Lauren Leach before with the Lore Sports guys. And I remember asking Mark one time, like, what do you love so much about racing and local racing? Like, what keeps you going to all these events? And his answer was If there's 20 cars out there in a feature, that's 20 different storylines going at the same time.
Yeah.
There's 20 different things going on with a race within the race. Like, you don't understand what it took Randy Schuler to get here this week that he's out there racing. You just see that he's running in 6th place. Like, there's so much behind the scenes that goes into it, and he eats all that up and loves that, and watching the little guy persevere and, things like that is really kind of cool to see in our sport. At Kaukauna last few years, like, we had a couple first-time feature winners, and Travis Rodewald, for example, like, super part-time, super low-budget guy, like, finished second in the feature last year, like, the last night. Like, you see things like that, and that's really cool, because that's what's going to keep people coming back, and people want to see different drivers do well and mix it up out there. So,
yeah, without a doubt. Well, I'm gonna probably open this up here not too long. So, like I said, appreciate you again for bringing that up here. But no, best luck, man, and we'll catch you on soon.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you for listening in to Speed and Grease. If you're a returning listener, I appreciate you tuning into another episode. And if it was your first time tuning into the show, I hope you enjoyed it and want to keep coming back for more. And if you haven't already, make sure you head on over to Facebook, Instagram, like and follow us on one of those platforms wherever you prefer, even on X as well. And if you watch a lot of stuff on YouTube, make sure you head on over to YouTube, subscribe to our channel there to stay up to date on everything. And also, if you want, give us a rating and review over on Spotify or Apple Podcasts as well. Thank you again for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and we'll catch you in the next one.